Chapter 580. Combined with the difficulty of obtaining god-demon equipment, Lu Chen finally thought it through. Forget it, this thing can only depend on luck. The 9 heavens are so big, and there are also small worlds in the great world. If I really go to look for it, I definitely won't be able to find it. The effects of the celestial demon symbiosis were too strong. Lu Chen thought that if he really cultivated in the celestial demon symbiosis state, he would attract the attention of the immortal army. In that case, he would cultivate in the normal state first. 1 point of spiritual energy per minute. After cultivating for a few minutes, Lu Chen saw that his spiritual energy was slowly increasing, and felt gratified. I was wondering how someone could become a rogue immortal, or even a venerable immortal, if they wanted to cultivate with their original mental cultivation method. Now, it seems that mental cultivation methods are too important. In the inner mountains of the immortal Apex sect, the disciples were so busy that they were dizzy. In order to host this large-scale competition, the entire immortal Apex sect was so busy that they couldn't care about anything else. Have the guest rooms at the foot of the mountain been arranged? Nan Tian asked as he inspected the dormitory area. Sect Master, it has been arranged. All the guest rooms in Immortal Town have been booked. The original residents have been very cooperative, and have temporarily moved out of town. What about the food? We have prepared a large amount of ingredients for our own dining hall. When the time comes, those who know how to cook will come to help. If there are more than 100,000 people, we won't be able to handle it. Nan Tian nodded. This time, the immortal army thinks highly of us. For us to be able to host this event, we must ensure that the logistics work is done well. Oh right, have the arenas been built? Of the 16 arenas, 14 have been built. The immortal army has provided us with a large amount of materials and funds, so we don't have to worry about it. All our disciples, and the helpers we invited from the foot of the mountain, are working hard. The last 2 arenas should be completed in about 2 days, the person in charge said. Good, Nan Tian nodded. Oh right, let our participating disciples rest well. Whether or not they can get a good ranking will depend on them. Don't worry, they don't have to do anything. They just have to challenge the dungeons every day and cultivate, beside the spiritual source. We will ensure that they are in good condition. The person who spoke was Elder Ling Xiao. What Lu Chen didn't know was that not everyone was sucked into the whirlpool last time. Some people were lucky enough to escape, but only a few people. Seeing Elder Ling Xiao, Nan Tian suddenly stopped and let out a long sigh. Senior brother Ling. If only he was still here. Elder Ling Xiao also sighed. That's right. Even if the newcomer's strength is tyrannical, not losing to him in the past, no one can make this old master admire little friend Du Kuang. Back then in the barren land, he still had a compassionate heart, saving as many as he could, but, if Lu Chen were here, he would definitely feel ashamed. In fact, Rhubarb had met other people when he was looking for a way out. He didn't intend to save them. Nan Tian lowered his head and said, without him, the extreme immortal sect would have ceased to exist a long time ago. How would we have the chance to become one of the top 20 sects? It had been a year and a half since the incident. Every time Nan Tian thought of solipsistic, his heart would still ache. My attitude back then was too weak. I should have held him back, and not let him go. Sect Master, it's all in the past. The dead can't come back to life. We still have a lot of things to deal with. The elder behind him reminded. Nan Tian nodded. As the sect master, he had to take charge of the overall situation. Now wasn't the time to be sad. At this moment, a steward hurriedly ran over. Sect Master. Someone in the sect's exchange shop exchanged a large amount of sect contributions. Several elders frowned and looked at him. Zhu Xing, why don't you take a look at Changha? What time is it now? The competition will start in 3 days. Everyone is so busy that they're dizzy. Who has time to care about the exchange shop? That's right. Who cares if he exchanged a few hundred, or a few thousand sect contributions? Even if he exchanged 10,000 sect contributions, we still don't have time to care. Zhu Xing's face was anxious. This wasn't a matter of a few hundred, or a few thousand sect contributions. That guy exchanged 5 million sect contributions. That was equivalent to 10 years of sect contributions from the entire extreme immortal sect. Zhu Xing, how about this? Close the exchange shop first. It's really infuriating. At this time, someone still has time to exchange sect contributions. I see that you're also free. Go and check the dormitory area. Check the temporary dormitories. The dormitories are still not enough. We can only draw out an area for them to set up temporary tents. Zhu Xing was rather depressed. He was here to report an important matter. Why was he assigned to work here? Sect master, but an elder pushed him. Don't grumble. Let me tell you, the competition will be going on for a few days. If there's any problem, you'll be held responsible. Zhu Xing panicked. The accommodation of more than 100,000 people was a big matter. Whether others exchanged sect contributions or not didn't have much to do with him. However, if there was a problem with the accommodation, that was his problem. Thinking of this, he swallowed the words that were at the tip of his tongue back. He hurriedly brought people to check the dormitory area. Lu Chen thought of an idea. He could cultivate in the dungeon. Since he didn't have to do the daily missions or attend classes, he could just find a random dungeon and cultivate for an entire day. After quickly clearing the dungeon, he activated the divine demon symbiosis and began to cultivate his spiritual power. Little Furball and the others also had a place to play. They ran around in the large dungeon. A group of mythical beasts followed Little Furball and played together. Anyway, Lu Chen had seen this kind of scene many times. They were all masters of fighting, so he just let them fight. Sigh, I wonder how the third heaven is doing. Little Originator is still there. If the situation is stable, I'll go back and bring Little Originator back. Lu Chen didn't forget about Little Originator. It was there to carry out a mission not abandoned. After cultivating in the dungeon for a day, Lu Chen received a message from the sect. The sect's disciples shouldn't enter the dungeon for the time being. All the dungeons were left for the guests to relax. As the host, the Celestial Peak sect still had to have the demeanor of a host. There were still 2 days before the competition began. But there were already a large number of sects, and even sects from other races, that came to the Celestial Peak sect. These disciples had nothing to do, so they could go and explore the dungeons and play in the Celestial Peak town. The Celestial Peak sect's disciples were all busy, and didn't have time to explore the dungeons. Thus, they were left for the guests. Lu Chen was a little depressed. Now there were people everywhere on the mountain. The outer mountain was surrounded by immortal soldiers and disciples of other sections. On the contrary, he, as the host, had become a lonely existence. What was worse was that even the exchange shop was closed. So boring. Lu Chen wanted to find Lu Yi to play, but Lu Yi was busy training in preparation for the third heaven of Tong Tian Tower. Lu Chen's second heaven boss was Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary. Unlike others, he couldn't guide them. Moreover, they also had experts to guide them. They didn't need Lu Chen's help. For a moment, Lu Chen was at a loss. Was he extra? Finally, the day of the competition began, but the ban on the Celestial Peak sect was still not lifted. Damn, are they forcing me to watch the competition? Lu Chen almost collapsed. Chapter 581. This was the first time Lu Chen had seen so many people from other races, ever since he came to the fourth layer of heaven. There were nature elves, dark elves, beastmen, a race between humans and beasts, the giant deer race, the dwarf race, and so on. The people who came to participate in this competition walked towards the inner mountains. Lu Chen had become an outsider for no reason. He didn't belong to any race and was all alone. The 16 large arenas in the martial arts field were packed with people. At first glance, Lu Chen thought of a large stadium. Lu Chen couldn't squeeze into the disciples' area and could only find a random seat. Coincidentally, the people beside him were all nature elves. After everyone settled down, Nan Tian went on stage to give a speech. He encouraged the participants to show their strength and talked about the development of the Immortals' Pinnacle sect. It was an opportunity to increase the sect's reputation. The next to go on stage was the Immortal Army's Northern Region Commander, 4C's Expedition. 4C's Expedition was a human, and the only human among the 4 heavenly generals. When 4C's expedition went on stage, the audience's reaction was obviously much more intense. It's great general 4 heavenly generals. Damn, I heard his strength is unfathomable. I think he's fully equipped with immortal-grade equipment. He's also very strong and has 10 subordinates. He's definitely an overlord. Look, even the generals of the immortal army are looking at him with admiration. He's really strong. 4C's expedition was about 40 years old. He was tall and sturdy and didn't look old at all. When he went on stage, he had a natural deterrent force. His voice was also deep and steady. This year's inter-race and intersect martial arts competition is full of talents and experts. I'm very pleased. You are all the hope of the immortal army. In the future, you will also enter the immortal army and become its mainstays. Seeing that everyone is so excited, I won't take up too much of your time. I just have one thing to say. The top 3 of this competition, other than the competition's rewards, will also be awarded the rank of Heavenly Captain. To be able to stand out from these geniuses, you have the qualifications to have a higher starting point than others. Suddenly, there was a burst of exclamations. No way, the Immortal Army is giving out extra rewards this time? Starting from the Heavenly Captain level? Once you enter, you will be able to command hundreds of people. That is a symbol of status. Don't talk about status symbols. The salary of a Heavenly Captain is 10 times that of an ordinary soldier. The resources provided by the Immortal Army are much better than those provided by the sect. It seemed like joining the Immortal Army had its benefits. Judging from their exaggerated expressions, it seemed like the salary they were talking about was even better than the resources they could get from the sect. It seems that everyone is eager to give it a try. Very good, this is the kind of morale that we, the human race, need. Now, let me announce the official start of the 514th United Competition. The audience applauded enthusiastically. The nature elf girl next to Lu Chen looked at Lu Chen strangely. Why were the people around them clapping and looking so excited? But the human face next to her yawned and looked like he didn't care. Lu Chen noticed that the elven beauty beside him was secretly looking at him, so he also clapped his hands. He only hoped that the competition would end quickly, so that he could find a dungeon to cultivate and see if there were any good items to exchange. The competition officially began, and experts from various clans and sects stepped onto the stage one after another. Although everyone was a top-notch expert in their own sect, their strength was still uneven. Their performance in the early stages of the competition was particularly outstanding. Some battles ended in less than a minute, while others lasted for 10 to 20 minutes. Some of the seesaw battles lasted for half an hour. When the competition really began, Lu Chen also watched with great interest. Those competitions with great disparity in strength were not interesting. Lu Chen preferred to watch those seesaw battles. Whether it was an expert or an ordinary person, Lu Chen watched very seriously. Wow, another insta-kill. That must be the seeded contestant of this competition. Tushan Qingfeng is indeed the strongest genius of the fox demon race. No way, that dwarf in black used his firearm too well. He didn't give the opponent any time to react at all, and the competition was already over. That's a rock troll puppet? Look, there's a rock troll in that puppet master's puppet. The opponent can't break through its defense at all. Together with the other mechanical puppets, the divine puppet has excellent attack and defense. It's simply invulnerable. The surrounding people liked to watch the competitions of experts the most. Only Lu Chen was watching a stalemate match through his personal broadcast window in front of him. The arena was too big. Everyone could use their personal broadcast window to watch every match. Of course, if they wanted to, they could also turn on the picture-in-picture function and watch several matches at the same time. The nature elf girl beside Lu Chen inadvertently saw Lu Chen's image. Why was this guy watching the two contestants? One was a shadow elf, and the other was a half-beast. Their strength could only be considered below average among the contestants, but that guy was watching with rapt attention. 10 minutes later, many matches had ended, but that guy was still watching the match. 20 minutes, half an hour, 40 minutes. That guy was still watching without blinking. The nature elf girl asked curiously. Hey friend, what's different about this match? You've been watching for 40 minutes already. Lu Chen looked at the girl. Her ears were pointed, and she looked like a Westerner. However, she was more delicate and pretty. She was worthy of the word elf. The two of them are actually quite strong. Lu Chen smiled. In the match, both sides had more than 10 brilliant responses on the spot. Their reactions were quick, and they handled things reasonably. There are some things that I can learn from them. Most importantly, they were able to maintain such a high level of concentration after such a long match. I have to admire them for that. I'm really envious of such a back-and-forth battle. The elf girl frowned. This guy was so young, but why was he speaking like an old man? And there are some things that I can learn from them. Envious of such a back-and-forth battle? You probably hadn't won before. Big brother, these people are obviously very strong. As for the strongest group of people in the sect, only they are qualified to participate. Lu Chen suddenly realized that he shouldn't have expressed his true thoughts. Well, I think this match is more interesting than instant kills. Che, are you sure you're not jealous of those super experts who can instantly kill their opponents? An older female nature elf couldn't take it anymore. Friend, are all humans like you like to put on an act? Jealous? Lu Chen suddenly froze. Speaking of which, the number of people he had instantly killed could probably circle the earth a few times. The heaven domain boss of each level, the nine-winged nine-clawed dragon emperor, the devil sky grim reaper. No matter how badly Lu Chen was beaten at the beginning, as long as Lu Chen got close to them, they couldn't escape being instantly killed. Forget it, Lu Chen didn't want to explain anymore. He continued to watch other similar matches. Not long after, someone next door exclaimed, "Look, the experts of the Extreme Immortal sect have come out. I heard that they are quite strong." Lu Chen was also attracted over. The stage was right in front of them. A girl slowly walked up the stage. She was full of heroic spirit and had a serious expression. Seeing this person, Lu Chen's eyes widened. No way, why is she here? Chapter 582. It was Zhenghua Yanran. In 2 years, this woman had actually reached level 4 from level 2. Her progress was quite fast. Her opponent was also a human. One of them was a beast tamer, while the other was a sword tamer. Beast tamers were quite strong in one-on-one battles. Not to mention that Zhenghua Yanran had an adult black flame dragon emperor with her. However, when he saw her opponent, Lu Chen frowned slightly. Her opponent was actually an immortal soldier. Why is an immortal soldier participating in the competition? Lu Chen asked in surprise. Aren't you an expert? You don't even know this? The female elf beside him snorted. Immortal soldiers always participate in the competition to prevent the competition from being too weak. If they can't defeat an immortal soldier, how can they be given the title of heavenly captain? That's right. The immortal army was recommended by the various sects, but they are only the stronger disciples. To win in the joint competition, their strength should be higher than the average immortal army. However, that immortal army seems to be at the heavenly soldier level. This doesn't seem to be common in the previous competitions. It's said that the immortal soldiers' requirements have become higher because of the upcoming war. Lu Chen roughly understood the reason and watched the competition. I wonder how Yanran's strength has improved in the past 2 years. That immortal soldier seems quite experienced and calm. There's a hint of hostility in his eyes, probably because he's killed a lot. Yanran needs to be careful. As soon as the competition started, Yanran summoned the Black Dragon of Promise, which was hundreds of meters long. Wow, there's an adult ultimate divine beast over there. It's the Black Flame Dragon Emperor. It's rare to see one. A beast tamer with an adult black dragon. It's too hard to fight. However, her opponent didn't panic. He raised his sword and 2 pitch-black swords were unsheathed behind him. Yanran used a spear. The national army seemed to prefer long-handled weapons, and Yanran had inherited this trait. Furthermore, the black dragon was a long-ranged weapon, so it was more reasonable for her to fight in close combat. The competition was about to start. Yanran immediately used her barrier skill. Army Spirit Barrier. It increased her own attack and defense, while reducing the opponent's attack, movement speed, and skill damage. The immortal soldier snorted. Army spirit. A little girl like you who is still wet behind the ears. Do you even know what the soul of a soldier is? Only those who have experienced countless battles of life and death can understand it. Azura barrier. The immortal army used barriers at the same time. After the barriers of both sides overlapped, the effect of Yinran's barrier was reduced by 27%. It was obvious that it was inferior to the level of the opponent's barrier. You're not me. How do you know that I don't know? Yinran didn't lose out in the slightest. With 1,000 army break, she closed in on her opponent. Lu Chen smiled. Zhenghua Yinran's temper was still the same. She was a girl and would never admit defeat. Her personality was very strong. Both sides immediately clashed. Yinran continued to advance, and the Imperial Sword continued to pull apart the distance between them. The Imperial Sword continued to attack Yinran. However, Yinran also had an ultimate Divine Beast battle pet. An adult black dragon was already very powerful. Unlike Lu Chen, Yinran had not raised so many divine beasts at once. She only had one battle pet. She usually cooperated with her battle pet, and had experienced countless battles together. The black dragon and Yinran's cooperation was very good. Yinran attacked fiercely. The black dragon was forced to change its position. Soon Yinran gained the upper hand. The immortal army's defense was bound to fail. While dodging, the immortal army's defense revealed a flaw. Yinran seized this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to close in. 100 Battle Spear Black Scorch. The spear was covered in black flames, as it was thrust toward the immortal army. The spear pierced toward the immortal army. At the same time Lu Chen frowned. No, the immortal army is purposely showing a flaw. The girl has fallen into the trap. As expected, the immortal army suddenly disappeared. The two swords suddenly formed a cross and locked onto Yinran's spear, spinning quickly. Disarm. The two swords were spinning so fast that Yinran couldn't hold onto the spear. The spear slipped out of her hand. You can't even hold your weapon properly. You will only die on the battlefield. Shadow folding sword. The two black swords quickly threw out the spear. One after the other, the immortal army pierced toward the immortal army at an astonishing speed. Telepathy connection. Gua Yinran shouted in a low voice, and her body instantly moved. This was a skill unique to beast tamers that could pull their masters to their battle pets. I knew you were going to escape. Catch the ringleader. The two swords merged in the air and formed a cross sword. With a space jump, the immortal army appeared under the immortal army's feet, before the immortal army could stand firm. Roar! The black dragon roared and breathed out a heat wave, pushing the immortal army away. Ultimate mythical beasts were indeed ultimate mythical beasts. Apart from their insane attributes, their reactions were even faster than their masters. Battle pets. You used this to defeat the tester. It's far from enough. The immortal army shouted and turned into a sword shadow. Immortal Sword Celestial Form. Wow, the immortal army has mastered the Immortal Sword Celestial Form. The Immortal Sword Celestial Form has a high requirement for spiritual energy. The Immortal Sword Celestial Form is one of the more difficult forms to cultivate. A heavenly soldier has mastered the Immortal Sword Celestial Form. The immortal army is too powerful. The immortal army seemed to have calculated the immortal army's position. The immortal army turned into a sword aura and stabbed toward the immortal army. The immortal army widened her eyes. Don't underestimate me. 1,000 army break. Suddenly, a long spear fell from the sky and hit the immortal army below the Immortal Sword Celestial Form, nailing him to the ground. Everyone who was watching the match was shocked by the immortal army's move. Could that little girl's move just now be the Imperial Sword technique? The immortal army's long spear had been disarmed. Without a doubt, she didn't have time to pick up the spear and could only control it. To control a weapon, apart from some special weapons, the sword control technique was the only way. The immortal army was heavily injured and controlled. At this point, the outcome was clear and the immortal army stopped. Thank you for letting me win. The immortal army pulled out the spear and saluted. The immortal army stood up and stared at the immortal army. Did you use a special weapon, or the sword control technique, to control the spear? Sword control technique. The immortal army would feel better if the immortal army knew that the immortal army had used a special weapon. However, she had used her own skills, which meant that this young woman was indeed more skilled. After a long time, the immortal army shook his head and sighed. Okay, you win. I admit defeat. The immortal army looked calm. She saluted, put away her black dragon, and left the stage. In the distance, Lu Chen smiled. When they were together, the immortal army didn't seem to be so arrogant. However, he had underestimated the immortal army. She was quite strong now. She came to be my junior sister? The elf girl next to him was amazed. Wow, that little sister is so strong. Not only does she have a black dragon, but she is also very strong. Lu Chen saw that the girl was quite cheerful, and took the initiative to talk to the immortal army. He also said, she is quite strong. The girl said, look at her. She is a real master. Please learn to keep a low profile in the future. If you don't have the right to go on stage, don't talk like you are a master. TSK, I already said that she is strong. Is that not keeping a low profile? Not quite strong. She is much stronger than you. The girl corrected him. Besides, what you said is the truth. That is not keeping a low profile. Lu Chen looked at the elf girl in surprise. Not only were the skills of the immortal army troublesome, their personalities were also troublesome. However, if Zhenghua Yinran was here, then who were the other masters? Lu Chen found that this competition seems to be a bit interesting. Chapter 583. The Immortals' Peak sect had made ample preparations, and the 16 arenas went on in an orderly manner. Gua Yanran left after finishing her match, and the Immortals' Peak sect seemed to be competing in the same arena. The next match was also between the Immortals' Peak sect members. Lu Chen actually knew the next few people who went on stage. The second was Beishue Gufei, the third was Dongfang Ji, and the fourth was a beautiful woman. Lu Chen also had some impression of her. Zhenghua Mo Ran was a peak marshal at the third celestial layer back then. Although Lu Chen had never fought with her, he had heard that she was very strong, and was a medicine master who cultivated both medicine and poison. Qingshan had once told Lu Chen that it was Moran who led the team to set the record in Autumn Fall City. These guys have all come to the fourth heaven. Lu Chen thought again. Right, it's been a year. Who knows how many people have come to the third heaven? These people all came to the Immortals' Peak sect, so it was possible that they had teamed up to come to the fourth heaven. Gua Yinran's black dragon had evolved into an adult, and her strength had skyrocketed. After reaching the third heaven, she would also become a very strong competitor. With the national army behind her, she didn't need to work hard to participate in the competition. It was reasonable for her to team up with the other three and come to the fourth heaven. Lu Chen shook his head and sighed. Although Jiutian was big, it was a pleasant surprise to meet familiar people. On the first day of the competition, the four of them were very strong, and they all passed the first round. After the competition, Lu Chen wanted to go find them, but after thinking about it, he thought that the competition required a calm state of mind. If he suddenly appeared, he might disturb them. It was better to watch the competition first. After the official competition, the Immortals' Peak sect was still very lively. At the border between the inner and outer mountains, the Immortals' Peak sect had set up a special market. Disciples from various races and sects could barter here. Of course, if they were really short on gold, they could sell it. The resources in each area were different, and many people brought local specialties to set up stalls here. The extremely bored Lu Chen, of course, would not miss such an opportunity. Rhubarb, let's go to the trading area after dinner. Can you help me see if there are any treasures? Of course, Rhubarb would be involved in such matters. After dinner, the trading area was already packed with people. Shouts could be heard everywhere, and many onlookers had gathered in front of the stalls. High-grade puppet materials. There's also a special puppet skill book, and a rare puppet string. Come and take a look. I'm the puppet master's blessing. Fashion, fashion, fashion. With 4 sets of clothes out, you'll be the prettiest boy in the sect if you wear my clothes. If you miss this opportunity, You won't get another one. 3 battle pet cubs and 7 marquee-level battle spirit contracts. They are only for trade and not for sale. Beast tamers, come and take a look. Selling all kinds of medicinal herbs and medicinal pills. 7-star alchemists can help refine medicinal pills in exchange for alchemist equipment and cultivation technique books. Dazzling gold equipment on sale. Exchanging for medicinal herbs and ores. Immortal cloak. Exchanging for other equipment of the same level. There was a dazzling array of items here. From raw materials to finished products, to equipment, battle pets, battle spirits, mounts, everything was available. Lucian squatted down in front of a stall selling immortal cloaks. Big brother, are you selling cloaks? The other party was a dwarf. He was short, but his body was stout and sturdy. Didn't you see the instructions on my stall? They are only for trade and not for sale. Lucian shook his head. He had done some instance dungeons in the sect before. But immortal tools weren't easy to obtain. He didn't have anything suitable on him to exchange for them. No, I don't have anything extra on me to exchange for. Lucian wanted to go to the sect's exchange store to exchange for some things. But that place wasn't open to the public. What Lucian wanted the most was naturally equipment. If he didn't have any equipment, he could use the limitless sword to swallow it. This place had nearly all the new equipment that came out from the 4th layer heavens. There were at least 100 different kinds of equipment. A dazzling gold item had several thousand attributes, but that was still around 300,000 to 400,000. For Lucian, 350,000 for each of the 3 dimensions was a considerable increase. Fuck, there's nothing to exchange. Do I have to farm for them one by one? Looking at so many equipment, Lucian was really jealous. He carefully rummaged through his backpack. There were still a lot of star-raising materials in it. These things couldn't be used by others. In a hurry, Lucian squatted down in a corner and opened the reputation store. The reputation store wasn't as powerful as Lucian imagined. Its main function was to provide star-raising materials, bloodline-related items, army construction needs, and some miscellaneous items. No equipment, no VIP, no top-up entry. What a kind heart. Lucian complained. Fortunately, the store had always been in sync with Lucian's star level. The level of materials kept increasing, and it could always guarantee the improvement of Lucian's star level and bloodline. There's a technique duplication scroll, but it can only duplicate low-level techniques. It's useless. After thinking about it, Lucian closed the reputation store. There was still a key in his backpack, the whirlpool key. Forget it, I'm not selling this. If I fall into the whirlpool one day, I can come out directly. What else can I use to earn money? At this moment, Lucian looked up. Not far away, the pharmacist's stall that was helping to refine pills was crowded with people. Boss, do you know how to refine beast heart pills? What's the success rate? What's the quality? Yes, the success rate is 48%. I'll give you 50%. The lowest quality is guaranteed to be a 1-star pill. You have to pay 50% of the materials as handling fee. Boss, help me refine 3 spirit condensing pills. Sure, it's still the same price as before. 50% handling fee. The lowest quality is guaranteed to be a 2-star pill. You have to pay 10% more materials. However, a 2-star pill can increase spiritual energy by 120 points. Then I definitely want a 2-star pill. Okay, the pills will be ready in 3 minutes. Boss, what's the price of a water-dissolving pill? A water-dissolving pill. It adds water resistance, right? I can refine it. 60% handling fee. But it can only guarantee a successful pill. The shop owner's business was booming. There was nothing in front of his stall. Instead, all kinds of materials were piled up, looking for someone to refine pills. After paying the full amount of materials for the pharmacist, it was still much cheaper than buying pills directly. Furthermore, pills were consumables. His business was booming. Lucian observed a few more pharmacist stalls. Pharmacists, refiners, and other processing industries were doing very well. Getting something for nothing. And I can also increase my pharmacist's level. This is good. Little Green, how do you compare to that pharmacist just now? Boss, he's only a 7-star pharmacist. I'm an 8-star pharmacist. Also, the quality of my pills is better than his. Then why are the spirit-condensing pills that you refined for me all starless? You didn't say you wanted good ones. You gave me so many materials and asked me to refine the required pills. I can only refine pills without stars. There's such a saying when refining pills. Then let's go and set up a stall. It wasn't easy to wait for a big boss to sell everything in his stall. He packed up his things and left. Lu Chen took over the stall with a triple door. Luckily I acted fast. Lu Chen said proudly. Little Green, you can set up a stall here. Okay, boss. Lu Yi rolled up her sleeves. It was obvious that she was going to do something big. Before Lu Chen could open his mouth, Lu Yi shouted at the top of her lungs. Everyone come and take a look. I'll help you refine an 8th grade pill. As soon as she finished speaking, the group of people in front of her stopped in their tracks. Little girl, you said you can refine an 8th grade pill? Are you serious? Our shop operates with integrity, and we don't cheat anyone. Little Green smiled politely. Chapter 584. Little girl, in order to refine a grade 8 pill, you need to be an 8-star alchemist. Do you know how many pills an alchemist needs to refine in order to increase their proficiency? I have never even seen an 8-star alchemist before. That is enough to refine immortal pills. A 7-star alchemist can be trained using resources, but an 8-star alchemist needs talent. Lu Chen is stunned as he listens by the side. He knows a little about blacksmithing, but he is only a 6-star alchemist. He knows nothing about alchemy. Listening to what others are saying, Little Green is already so powerful? He brought along an 8-star alchemist that even his family couldn't nurture? Louis smiles. Who asked me to have a good master, a good boss? Anyway, you don't have to worry. Since I dare to say this here, I naturally won't lie to you. If you give me enough materials, I will collect the fees. Louis looks at Lu Chen. Boss, are we collecting materials or something else? Lu Chen is stunned for a moment. Materials are also fine. Equipment is also fine. Anything of the same value is fine. Louis nods. Oh, I understand, boss. That is, you must give me enough materials and ensure that I have enough materials within the range of success. After I succeed, I will deduct the extra materials I consume and convert them into other items as fees. To the customers, this is not a problem. An elder repeatedly looks at Lu Yi. While he is hesitating, someone beside him speaks up. Can you refine dark resistance pill? Dark resistance pill is one of the rarer types of resistance. Dark resistance pill can only be refined by an 8-star alchemist. Yes, Lu Yi says without hesitation. As long as it is not an immortal pill, she will automatically obtain the refining blueprints of other pills. Naturally, she can refine them. Don't waste my materials. These materials were collected by me with great difficulty. Louis smiles. Since you are looking for me, you have to believe me. I don't think anyone is so stupid to lie in front of so many people. What he said made sense. Otherwise, that person wouldn't have even asked. Then, I heard that the success rate of making a normal dark resistance pill is 40%, but I only have 3 sets of materials. If you can guarantee that you can make one for me, it doesn't matter if you have a star rating or not. After you succeed, I can give you an extra reward as compensation. Lu Yi decisively said. Normally, it is indeed 40%. However, with me, the success rate of all the pills increased. Lu Yi looked at Lu Chen, indicating for him to continue. Lu Chen knew that Lu Yi's success rate in alchemy was 30% higher than other people's. Other people's success rate was 40%, while hers was 52%. If they wanted their business to be good, they had to have an advantage over others. Lu Chen thought about it and said, our success rate is 10% higher than normal. Let's be clear. The so-called 10% higher is based on the original success rate. For example, other people's success rate is 50%, but ours is 55%. It is reasonable to say that 3 portions of materials can be refined, but there is also a risk. This risk is not something that any alchemist would take on themselves, and we are the same. You can first take a look at other people's refining situation. If you feel that you can take a gamble, then you can just entrust us to refine it normally. That person thought about it and said, "Of course I know this principle. No one can say for sure about luck. However, if you say that your success rate is 10% higher than normal, I can't just believe it. Let's take a look at other people's refining situation first." It seemed that the materials for the dark resistance pill were not so easy to obtain. That was why that person was so cautious. Not long after, someone wanted to refine the fierce flame pill. It added fire elemental damage and required a 7-star alchemist. The fierce flame pill, which originally had a 56% success rate, was refined in one go by Little Green with a 73.8% success rate. This is the fierce flame pill that you wanted. I used some extra materials. It is a 3-star pill. Since you are the first customer, consider it a benefit. I will not charge you extra materials. What, a 3-star pill? That person's eyes were filled with shock as he held the red pill in his hand. It added 50% of the attributes, and it is not included in the pill resistance. Ha 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 ha, I have profited. Thank you, little girl. I will give you some extra materials. No need. This is a benefit. We have taken 34% of the materials. It is enough. Ha ha ha, thank you so much. Then help me refine a few more pills. Little girl, what is the highest star pill that you can refine? At least 3-star. You also know that from 4-star onwards, there is no need for extra materials. It depends on luck. Oh, right. It is still a 3-star pill. This time, you can charge me according to the usual 3-star pill. And alright. Please give me an extra 17% for each set of materials. Okay. No problem. I will refine. Let me count the materials. I will refine 5 pills. The first customer placed an order for 5 more pills in one go. 5 minutes later, 5 fierce flame pills were produced. 4 were 3-star, and 1 was 5-star. Oh ho. 5-star pill. Ha 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 ha. I have profited greatly. Not only does it not count in the pill resistance, it also increases the number of times you can use the same pill. Ha 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 ha. Lu Chen looked coldly at that guy who was dancing with joy. Was there a need to be so happy? Did he not care about his image anymore? A 5-star medicinal pill appeared, and the surrounding people went crazy. It can't be right? I saw that the little girl only put in 6 sets of materials, and it actually became 5 pills? Did it really only increase the success rate by 10%? Moreover, the lowest grade of the 5 pills was 3-star. She even produced a 5-star pill. This is too amazing. I have never seen such a high production rate, and such high-quality pills. Fuck, I am so regretful. The intensified water pill I refined earlier was even higher than this, but the quality was not as good as hers. Boss, I want to refine too. High-tier strength pill. High-tier strength pill. My success rate is 62%. I will charge you 38% of the materials in one go. There is no extra charge if you refine it more than once. I guarantee a 3-star pill. No problem. I will give you 10 sets of 3-star materials. Please help me refine a 5-star pill. I can't guarantee a 5-star pill. No, I just want to try. Hee. I don't have to make any requests. I know the rules. A few minutes later, another 6 sets of materials produced 5 intensified water pills. 3 of them were 3-star and 2 were 4-star. Haha, good. 2 4-star pills are already a bonus. Thank you, little girl. A net profit of 4 sets of materials for the intensified water pill. After the 2 successful cases, the people who were still watching couldn't wait any longer. They swarmed around Lu Chen's stall. I want to refine pills. It's my turn. I have been waiting in line. Don't squeeze in the back. Are you guys trying to break up other people's stalls? I asked just now. Don't push. I am next. Lu Chen found that the person who wanted to refine the dark resistance pill was also squeezing in the crowd. It seemed that there was no doubt about it anymore. Lu Chen waved his hand. Everyone, don't push. There are only a few people here. If you line up, you will all have a chance. If you don't line up, please go elsewhere. An old man realized that the older the ginger, the spicier it was. When the order was stabilized, he was actually the first to line up. Old man, what kind of pill do you want to refine? Lu Yi asked. Little girl, Do you know how to refine the immortal pill? The noisy crowd suddenly quieted down. Immortal pill? Did I hear wrongly? The materials for the immortal pill are extremely rare. The success rate is only 25%. That's not the point. The point is that all immortal pills require a recipe. Who has the recipe for the immortal pill? Little Green smiled politely. Yes. The crowd's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. What? She really knows how to refine the immortal pill. Chapter 585. There was an alchemist at a stall that helped a customer refine immortal pills. The entire trading market was in an uproar. The stall owners did not set up their stalls as people rushed towards that stall. Boss, you should go and rest for a while. I can handle it by myself. Lu Chen was pulled to the side by Lu Yi. There are so many people refining pills. Are you sure you can handle it by yourself? Lu Yi laughed. I used to participate in this kind of opportunity with my grandfather. In the first heaven, our divine herbalist Valley's pills are the most popular. I've long been able to handle this kind of situation. As long as they line up properly, I can refine them one by one no matter how many people there are. It won't be too late. Also, you don't seem to be very good at math. You always make mistakes and sometimes mess up my thoughts. Louis finally said the truth. Okay then I'll leave this place to you. I'll go buy some equipment. Call me if you need anything. Okay. Lu Chen shook his head and left the stall with a sad face. Am I bad at math? In the past, all the numbers were calculated by my mouth. Now Lu Chen had a large pile of medicinal ingredients and mini pills. Little Green had refined the excess medicinal ingredients together. Lu Chen could use these to exchange for some equipment. Whatever dazzling gold equipment or even dark gold equipment. As long as he had never seen it before, he would go and talk to them. Pills were considered the hottest commodities, so he did not have to worry about not being able to exchange for anything. Every time he exchanged for equipment, Lu Chen would let Limitless Sword devour it. If he ran out of pills, he would go back and get more. Rhubarb, I suddenly feel like I'm running a bank at home. Lu Chen brought rhubarb around the trading area. After 1 or 2 hours, he had already exchanged 7 or 8 pieces of equipment. Although he didn't need to worry about the pills, Little Green needed time to make money. Plus, she was too busy and didn't have time to help Lu Chen refine pills. So today's efficiency wasn't the highest. When he went back in the evening, Little Green would refine all the materials he had earned, so that he could exchange for more tomorrow. It was getting late, and it was time for the trading area to rest. Lu Chen returned to his stall, packed his things, and brought Little Green and rhubarb back to his residence. Wow, so many medicinal ingredients. Little Green, we've struck it rich this time. These medicinal ingredients can be refined into medicinal pills. I can use them myself, exchange them for items, and even give them to Little Furball to eat. Louis said, Boss, I'm still a bit slow in refining. I only managed to refine 400 pills tonight. Otherwise we could have earned even more. Lu Chen smiled. Little Green, you don't have to be so strict with yourself. You're already very good. There's still a few days left, so there's no rush. Yeah, boss. I'll refine all the medicinal ingredients I earned into pills tomorrow. That way, you won't have to come back to get pills every time you change your equipment. Don't tire yourself out. Rest well tonight. I'm not in a hurry. Now it seemed that Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary didn't drop any equipment and only gave it to Lu Yi. It was simply too worth it. The equipment that Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary dropped was only for temporary use. But Little Green could accompany Lu Chen forever. The next day, Lu Chen went to watch the competition as usual. Aside from some exciting matches, Lu Chen was most concerned about Jingua Yanran and the others. The opponents on the second day were obviously stronger than the first, and the difficulty of advancing was greatly increased. However, the 4 from the Immortal Apex sect also entered the top 128. That night, Lu Chen turned into a shopping maniac, sweeping up all the equipment from the big stalls, and obtaining another 20 pieces of gold-grade equipment. On the 4th day, the competition for a spot in the top 32 began. At this point, The competition was reaching its climax, and the experts were beginning to show their true strength. Dongfangji, Mo Ran, and Zhenghua Yin Ran couldn't defeat their strong opponents, and were stopped in the top 64. Gufei, on the other hand, was still quite strong. His opponents weren't too strong, and he was also quite strong, so he entered the top 32 with a large advantage. This was the first time that a disciple from the Immortal Apex sect entered the top 32. Gufei is still strong. I feel like he's even stronger than when I first met him. In the past year and a half, Gufei's improvement was amazing. On the same day, Lu Chen received a message from the Immortal Apex sect, enthusiastically celebrating Beishua Gufei's impressive results. At the same time, they also praised Yin Ran and the others for entering the top 64. Every disciple of the Immortal Apex sect also received 10 sect contributions as a reward. This was definitely a rare benefit from the Immortal Apex sect. At night, Lu Chen's business finally slowed down. The main reason was that not everyone had so many medicinal ingredients in reserve, and they also needed to exchange for other items. However, Lu Chen already had more than 1,000 pills of various types in his bag, and he once again felt like a tycoon. Lu Chen had almost finished exchanging for the more common equipment. No matter how good the equipment was, he couldn't afford it. For example, some rare dazzling gold, and even immortal tools. Those things would only be sold if they were exchanged for equipment of the same level. If he really couldn't afford it, then he wouldn't. At worst, he would just go and fight for them himself in the future. On the 5th day, the competition for the top 32 began. The main event was finally here. These people were the strongest 32 people from various races and sections. To put it bluntly, these people would quickly become the main force of the Immortal Army in the future. There were 16 arenas, and one arena was just enough for one match. Beishua Gufei was still in the old arena, and his opponent was a half-beastman expert. The surrounding nature fairies were all discussing the two people in the arena. That human is quite strong, but I don't think he can last more than 30 seconds in front of the primitive Buddha beast. The primitive Buddha beast is really strong. This year's champion is practically guaranteed. Our Sexy Wang was instantly killed by him. His strength is too terrifying. That's not necessarily the case. The Dark Knight and the dwarves also have super experts. It's too early to determine the champion, but that human is definitely going to lose. Among the humans, only Unique Step has the qualifications to enter the top 8, or even the top 4. The others are still too weak. Lu Chen frowned slightly. Was that primitive Buddha beast really that strong? On the arena, the half-beastman was 5 meters tall. He had a muscular body, and he held a giant axe and shield. Around his neck hung a large string of Buddhist beads. That was his famous immortal tool War Buddha Saraira. There were a total of 108 beads, and they glowed with a faint golden light. This guy was a monk, and he cultivated both Buddhist light monk and Buddhist seal. His attack and defense were both excellent. Although his sword attack was strong, against the primitive Buddha beast who had super high defense, and was good at mid-range attacks, he didn't have the slightest advantage. The longevity Buddha looked down at Gufei. You think you're worthy of entering the top 32? This is really an insult to the competition. Beishua Gufei frowned and didn't say anything. Kid, do you know? The most suitable position for the humans is the Immortal Army's logistics. You guys will only drag us down on the battlefield. Gufei snorted. If you're so confident, then why did you still ally with the humans? 4C's expedition is also a human. Why don't you go and say these words to him? 4C's expedition is also the weakest of the 4 heavenly generals. His personal strength is not even comparable to many mid-heavenly generals and junior heavenly generals. The reason why he could become a great heavenly general is that he is old and experienced, and can lead troops to fight. If it was anyone else, after staying in the Immortal Army for so many years, their experience wouldn't lose to him. Gufei's eyes already had a trace of anger. This guy actually dared to disrespect the great heavenly general of the human race. Human trash, there's one more thing you don't know. Didn't you praise 4C's expedition? Do you know why he hasn't gone to the 5th layer of heaven at such an old age? Gufei narrowed his eyes. Because you humans don't have anyone who can take over his position. As expected, trash is trash. After 32 years in the Immortal Army, he only relied on his qualifications and experience. Maybe it was to stabilize the alliance. That's why he was chosen as a great heavenly general. You actually use that as a reason to be proud? In 32 years, how many people have the other great heavenly generals changed? And you humans, until now, there are only 5 people who can replace 4C's expedition. You think this is something you can be proud of? Ha 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 ha, you humans really don't have any shame. Chapter 586. How dare you insult my human race? Don't blame me for being heavy-handed later. Beishua Gufei's eyes were already burning with rage. But the primitive Buddha beast didn't care. Ha 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 kid, you talk big. Unfortunately, you don't deserve it. I like the smell of gunpowder. That way, the fight will be more exciting. What do you mean by not overdoing it? That's not interesting at all. The Immortal Army doesn't want monkeys who only know how to talk big. On the stage, Lu Chun was so angry that his teeth were itching. He shouted loudly, "Gufei, beat up that gorilla. Beat him up. Break his mouth and knock out his teeth." Lu Chun was surrounded by elites of nature. He was the only one cheering for Gufei, and he was so excited. Instantly, he attracted a lot of rolling eyes. How did a human get in here? He's been sitting there for a few days. I don't know how the extreme immortal sect arranged for a disciple to be here. He's crazy. The primitive Buddha beast is so strong. That means he has the right to be arrogant. He's probably just a simpleton. Lu Chen's fire was splashed with cold water by the people around him. Lu Chen was also depressed. Who asked him to not be able to squeeze into the human race's side? In a group of foreign races, he was indeed the odd one out. After shouting for a while, no one responded. Lu Chen could only quiet down. The match was about to start. The moment the match started, the primitive Buddha beast put his palms together. Suddenly, a golden light burst out from his body. With a boom, the entire stage was illuminated by the golden light. Buddhist scripture barrier. The sound of monks chanting in unison could be faintly heard. It was sacred and solemn. Lu Chen hurriedly checked Gufei's status. Listen attentively. Forcefully pulled in front of the opponent every 5 seconds. Unable to use displacement skills for 2 seconds. Demonic mind confusion. Offensive skills have a 30% chance of being ineffective when used. Fuck. Lu Chen's eyes widened. This barrier was too unreasonable. This was the first time Lu Chen heard of a displacement skill being forcefully used. And the destination of the displacement was actually in front of the opponent. The weakness of sword manipulation was that it was afraid of getting close to the enemy. If the enemy was dragged right in front of him, how could Gufei control his sword? Demonic assault was also very strong. There was a 30% chance that the skill would fail. In other words, even though Lonely Fly had spent a lot of effort to pull away, there was still a 30% chance that he would fail even after charging up for half a day. Damn, no wonder they say the primitive Buddha beast is strong. It is indeed strong. He has high HP and DF, and he's good at close combat. Who would be able to take it if he pulled someone over to let him beat them up? Not good, the suppression is too strong. I'm afraid Gufei won't be able to break it. When Gufei activated the Sword Dao barrier, it only had the effect of increasing attack speed. It was completely unable to deal with the 2 abnormal abilities of the Buddhas, who were chanting sutras. The 2 barriers stacked on top of each other, weakening each other by 40%. Lu Chen frowned slightly. The quality of the Sword Dao barrier is not inferior to the chanting of the Buddhas. After the effects have weakened, solitary flight will be pulled over once every 7 seconds. The failure rate of the technique has become 18%, but it's still too difficult. The moment the 2 great enchantments collided, Beishua Gufei had already moved. Sword Saint's sword art. Sword will rampage. The beast Buddha narrowed his eyes. You actually know sword intent. Interesting. Kid, I won't give you the chance to show off. What I want is to defeat you within 10 seconds. The beast Buddha let out a low roar and took off the Sarira prayer beads on his neck. Sarira prayer beads 3rd style, put down the butcher's knife. With a boom, The golden light exploded and covered the entire arena. Beishua Gufei suddenly realized that his 7-star sword was being pressed down to the ground by a powerful force. Zung zung zung. The 7-star sword was all stabbed into the ground. This rise for me. The 7 swords trembled violently, as if there were 2 forces wrestling with each other. The beast Buddha smiled. You didn't expect that your sword would be disarmed by me, right? I already said that you humans are trash. Without your sword, you're a piece of trash among trash. The level of the Saraira prayer beads was too high. Even though Beishua Gufei tried his best, and even used the strongest attack of the Sword Saint sword art, he was still unable to pull the 7-star sword out of the ground. Both sides were in a stalemate for a few seconds. Suddenly, the beast Buddha's lips curled up, and his eyes were filled with killing intent. 7 seconds is up. Your death is here. Gufei suddenly felt an irresistible force. Immediately after, he was forcefully pulled in front of the beast Buddha. All Buddhas are chanting scriptures. Of course, you have to listen. Ha ha ha. 42 life exterminating palms, Vajra mountain splitting seal. Dozens of golden lights that could not be captured landed on Beishua Gufei, who was forcefully pulled close to him. Beishua Gufei's HP dropped rapidly. Every time he was hit by a Buddhist seal, his body would collapse and he would spit out a mouthful of blood. This guy added physical attacks to his attacks. The competition's requirement is that it doesn't kill the opponent. Sometimes if you are at a disadvantage, you can bet everything on one throw. Attacking the opponent's physical body and disabling their skills can also turn the tables. But the beast Buddha clearly has the advantage, but he intentionally added physical attacks. 42 chapters in total. Even if that human doesn't die, he will be half dead. 42 palms hit. Gufei's HP bar was only left with black HP. His entire body was like a pile of mud as he fell to the ground, dying. The beast Buddha looked down at Gufei, who was on the ground. Trash, do you see the difference between you and me? After saying that, he clawed with his bare hand, and the 7-star sword was sucked into his palm. I left you with a sliver of HP to let you see despair. Shariputra, break the weapon. Bang bang bang. After a few crisp sounds, Gufei watched as the 7-star sword was shattered. His bloodshot eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Ever since he was young, he had been using the 7-star sword to practice swordsmanship. His sword never left his body for more than 20 years. The first time he could ride a sword, he rode the 7-star sword. The first time he used sword intent, he also used the 7-star sword. The first time he killed a monster, the first time he faced an enemy, the 7-star sword was no longer just his weapon. It was more like the love of Beishua Gufei, who lived in seclusion and pursued the path of swordsmanship. However, not only did the beast Buddha heavily injure himself, he also deliberately left a sliver of HP to let him witness the scene of the 7-star butterfly sword shattering. You. Beishua Gufei violently vomited a mouthful of blood. This was not only caused by his heavy injuries, but also because of the heart-wrenching pain. Beast Buddha, that's enough. Come down. A half-beastman below the stage said indifferently. Where are the people from Immortal Pinnacle sect? Hurry up and drag your people down. Don't really die here. Southern Sky flashed over and glared at that person. Why were you so heavy-handed? That half-beastman frowned slightly. Apologies, Southern Sky sect leader. We half-beastmen have always viewed every battle as a battle of life and death. What's more, the joint competition was originally to select the heaven officers of the Immortal Army. If we don't let these children experience the cruelty of the battlefield, I'm afraid it won't be good for them in the future. But it's still a competition between our allies. I won't say anything if you heavily injure my Immortal Pinnacle sect disciple. But why did you have to shatter the sword? Shatter the sword. The person has already lost. What's the use of the sword? That person laughed. Southern Sky sect leader, although you're the host, we didn't violate the rules of the competition. I understand that you're eager to protect your children, but swords have no eyes. This is unavoidable. Sigh. As expected of a new sect with a few newcomers. They don't have the slightest bit of demeanor of a large sect. Southern Sky simply couldn't bear it any longer. However, he turned around and glanced at Beishua Gufei. His injuries were too heavy. He had to be treated quickly. Below the stage, the nature fairies were discussing the competition just now. Right at this moment, the nature fairy girl sitting beside Lu Chen secretly looked at the human beside her. In the end, she got a fright. That guy's eyes are currently emitting a faint green mist. What's wrong with this guy? Chapter 587. At the human race's spectator stand, a commotion broke out. You actually dare to insult the great heavenly general. This daddy here can't take it anymore. That beast Buddha, you are too much. Our immortal pole sect treated you as a guest, and yet you acted so viciously. You are simply beasts. You even used physical attacks and almost killed him. You even destroyed Gufei's immortal artifact. You are too much. Everyone, let's go and kill that beast. Beast Buddha looked at these people with disdain. A bunch of trash who only know how to hoot. If you have the ability, then come down. Do you believe that this daddy here will beat you to death? On the other side, Lu Chen narrowed his eyes and was about to stand up. Suddenly, a figure appeared on the stage. Great Heavenly General of the Alliance, 4C's expedition. Everyone quiet down, he said to the human race's spectator stand. This year's competition is organized by my human race. Since Immortal Pole Sect is a new sect, I placed it in Immortal Pole Sect. My goal is to let Immortal Pole Sect's name resound in the Alliance. If you guys go up on stage now, are you trying to let others remember this competition as a joke? 4C's expedition bellowed. Everyone was stunned. After berating the human race, 4C's expedition turned and walked in front of Beast Buddha with a smile. Congratulations. Beast Buddha said in disdain. TSK, I thought you were going to come down and fight with me. So you are here to show weakness. Humans are indeed cowards. Beast Buddha's sect elder hurried up the stage and pulled Beast Buddha back. He said in a low voice, no matter what, he is still a great heavenly general. Let's go and rest first. The Beast Buddha finally left the venue. 4C's expedition also turned around and returned to the rostrum. The competition in the arena continued. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly. Isn't this expedition of the 4C's a little too weak? Could it really be like what the Beast Buddha said, that it has an undeserved reputation? On the rostrum, Nantian stood behind 4C's expedition. He looked at the person in front of him, who was still carefully watching the competition. He wanted to say something but hesitated. In the end, he could not help but step forward. Great Heavenly General, you are angry, right? Without waiting for Nantian to finish, the Great Heavenly General said what he was thinking. Yes, that Beast Buddha is too much of a bully, spouting nonsense. How can we tolerate this? Doesn't that mean that the others are watching the human race as a joke? Also, why did you congratulate him? This is showing weakness. The Great Heavenly General let out a long sigh and turned to look at southern sky. You care about the dignity of the human race, but I only care about one thing, the survival of the human race. Although Beast Buddha went overboard, he didn't break the rules of the competition, right? If we take advantage of our home ground to attack them, the Alliance will think that we humans are untrustworthy and impulsive, which will be fatal to the entire human race. Great Heavenly General. At this moment, Nantian realized that the Great Heavenly General was not showing weakness. He was looking further ahead. Nantian, I've heard of your ambitions. That everyone is a dragon and tiger. Why should we fear external enemies is extremely well said. The Great Heaven General said, I can't make the decision on the Alliance's united front alone. I can only arrange some capable newcomers for you. Nantian's eyes widened. So Gu Fei and the other experts were arranged by De Tian. Those who achieve great things don't only know how to shout slogans. They have to put it into action and have the means to succeed. The Great Heavenly General smiled. I feel that Beast Buddha's provocation this time is a good thing to provoke public anger. It will let these young people understand that the human race is weak and not be arrogant just because they have a little strength. Beast Buddha is right about one thing. I really need someone to replace me in this position. In an instant, Nantian suddenly felt that he was not on the same level as the Great Heavenly General. It wasn't the difference in strength, but the difference in vision. It was also at this moment that Nantian no longer doubted the great heavenly general's ability. He was definitely worthy of being one of the 4 great heavenly generals. Great heavenly general, I understand now. I was short-sighted before. It's not your fault. Who hasn't been young and impetuous? I envy you guys for being able to settle grudges as you please, unlike me who always thinks about this and that. As the great heavenly general, you naturally have to consider the big picture. Go, take a look at Gu Fei's situation. This crushing defeat should be a huge blow to him. The alliance tournament continued. Today the top 16 were decided, and the next day, the top 8 were decided. Coincidentally, on this day, the human race's only seedling Miao Qingfeng met the primitive beast Buddha again. In this battle Miao Qifeng, who was also a human, carried the hope of revenge for the human race. If he couldn't settle his grudges off the stage and defeat the beast Buddha on the stage, then others would have nothing to say. Miao Qingfeng was very strong and was the strongest human in the same batch. He also had extremely powerful means and was a rare dual cultivator of combat and magic. As everyone knew, dual cultivators of the same profession had no problem. However, Miao Qingfeng was a dual cultivator of martial arts and a prophet. Since he was involved in 2 major professions, he must have had a fortuitous encounter. Miao Qingfeng's close combat strength was not weak, so he was not afraid of close combat. The 7 seconds of all ears effect of the Buddha's chanting was not much of a threat to him. However, the demonic mind was really annoying. The 12% failure rate of the cultivation technique was not limited to this 12% chance. In every set of cultivation technique, the effects of each layer were different. They were often connected, such as controlling, heavily injuring, or stacking the opponent's negative statuses. The final killing move was to subdue the enemy. If there was a problem in any of the links, it was very likely to cause the entire set of moves to be nullified. And in such a high-intensity battle, if one's skills could not be connected, it would be giving the opponent an opportunity. In view of this, Miao Qingfeng was very cautious in the battle, which led to his damage not being fully displayed. On the other hand, the beast Buddha's attacks were swift and fierce, and he cooperated with all ears to deal continuous damage. After fighting fiercely with the beast Buddha for 20 minutes, Miao Qingfeng's 5 mountains collapse melee control failed at a critical moment. The beast Buddha seized the opportunity and used the relic Buddha's reincarnation to reflect the skill. In the end, Miao Qingfeng was defeated with 42 life-ending palms. The beast Buddha grabbed the air and sucked Miao Qingfeng's immortal spear into his palm. Relic Buddha's weapon shatter. Shatter for me. With a bang, Miao Qingfeng's immortal weapon shattered. Yu. Miao Qingfeng was so angry that he vomited a few mouthfuls of blood and fainted. The beast Buddha raised his head and laughed wildly. Ha 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 ha. I already said that you humans are all trash. The strongest. Sorry, in front of me, killing you is like killing a dog. All the humans glared at the beast Buddha. Damn it, it's too bad that I'm not strong enough. Otherwise, I would kill him with my own hands. He's gone too far. Is there no one in the human race who can fight him? I'm so pissed off. 3 days later, the champion was decided. What made the humans collapse was that the champion was none other than the primitive Buddha. He insulted the great heavenly general, severely injured 2 human masters, and shattered their immortal weapons. He even wanted the great heavenly general to personally award him an award. In the future, when he joined the immortal army, he would be promoted directly from heavenly lieutenant. How can such a beast receive such treatment? It's simply unreasonable. Damn it, thinking of this, I'm about to have a heart attack. However, a joint competition was a joint competition, and the award ceremony was extremely grand. On a temporarily built high platform, the great heavenly general of the human race, 4C's expedition, personally awarded the first-place primitive Buddha the award. Chapter 588. Congratulations on becoming the champion of this year's competition. 4C's expedition smiles as he stands in front of primitive beast Buddha and hands over the trophy. This is the prize for this year's first place. A set of immortal tool purple star sword, 3 immortal spirit pills, 10 immortal body pills, 10 immortal martial pills, and the letter of appointment. Primitive Beast Buddha receives the prize with one hand and looks down at 4C's expedition from above. I'll accept it, but I still feel like I'm missing something. Primitive Beast Buddha says frivolously. There's another uproar below the stage. He's still not satisfied after receiving so many prizes. What else does he want? 4C's expedition smiles. Oh, what do you think is missing? Primitive Beast Buddha grins. I want to test if you're worthy of being one of the 4 great generals. The moment these words come out, the entire city is in an uproar. What he wants to challenge the great general. This is too arrogant. Speaking of which, the strength of the human race's great general has always been questioned. If 4C's expedition is willing to accept, we can see if the rumors are true. However, a person who hasn't even officially joined the immortal army actually wants to challenge the great general. Isn't he looking down on the human race a little too much? Taking advantage of the uproar below the stage, Primitive Beast Buddha raises his voice and says to everyone below the stage, as everyone knows, the 4 great generals are those who are capable. Although I haven't joined the immortal army, I've already received the letter of appointment and can join the immortal army anytime. Since that's the case, I'm qualified to challenge the great general. I just can't stand the fact that the human race is clearly a bunch of trash, but there's still someone occupying one of the 4 great generals. 4C's expedition, I injured your clansmen and broke your clansmen's weapons. You, the so-called strongest of the human race, only know how to congratulate me. TSK. I really can't imagine how a coward like you can go on the battlefield and lead the immortal army to slaughter everyone. The human race's formation is completely enraged this time. Bastard, we've been patient in every possible way. But in the end, this bastard wants a yard after taking an inch. What right do you have to challenge our great general? So what if you're the Heaven Lieutenant? There's still the Middle Heaven Lieutenant and Great Heaven Lieutenant above you. Who do you think you are? Great General, don't accept him. Take back his letter of appointment. If this kind of person goes to the immortal army, he will definitely bully others. If he becomes a great celestial general, he will still be forced to death. The primitive Buddha beast snorted coldly. Shut up, you bunch of trash. Saying that I'm not qualified. If you have the ability, come up here. If 1 comes, I'll kill 1. If 2 come, I'll kill a pair. What joint competition? I don't care about it at all. To this day, no one has been able to force me to use more than 10 of my Sarira beads. With my strength, it's only a matter of time before I become one of the 4 heavenly generals. A mere ant dares to be so arrogant. 4C's expedition, do you dare to accept my challenge? If you don't dare, then step down from your position as the great heavenly general. From now on, when you see me, the primitive Buddha beast, you must kneel down and pay your respects to me. Some of the immortal soldiers couldn't stand it anymore. Do you know what Heavenly Marshal Yuan Zheng has done for the Alliance? Do you know how many battles he has won? Of the 4 heavenly generals, all of them have to bow and greet Lord Yuan Zheng when they see him. Do you know that? Simply arrogant to the extreme. Let me teach you a lesson. 4C's expedition waves his hand. However, the usually disciplined immortal soldiers are actually unable to control themselves. Cough, 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 cough. 4C's expedition might have been too anxious, and actually starts coughing violently. Great Heavenly General. A young Heavenly General rushes to the stage and hurriedly supports 4C's expedition. Your injuries. All immortal soldiers, shut up. Whoever dares to anger the great Heavenly General will be punished by military law. In the distance, Luchan also sees it with his own eyes. He saw with his own eyes that 4C's expedition's hand is covered in blood. It's just that he secretly keeps his right hand away so that others can't see it clearly. Luchan narrows his eyes slightly. No wonder. I was wondering why this primitive Buddha kept making things difficult for 4C's expedition. So he already knew that 4C's expedition was injured. The other great heavenly generals are all at the front lines. With the intense battle situation at the front lines, 4C's expedition should not have the time to come back to host this joint competition. It's precisely because he's injured that he came back. He can be considered to be helping to select talents while recuperating. And that primitive Buddha found out about this from somewhere and purposely caused trouble here. He even directly challenged 4C's expedition. He's really ambitious. He only used 10 of the 100 Sarira prayer beads. This guy has been conserving his strength all this time, so that he can challenge 4C's expedition. I actually didn't see through this plan from the start. 4C's expedition is indeed a great heavenly general. He probably sensed it long ago and avoided conflict several times. Great heavenly general 4C's expedition. There are only a few people who I admire. You are one of them. After figuring out the reason behind this, 4C's expedition has been forced to the point of no return. Sigh. Looks like I have to move around a bit. With that, Wuxia stood up. Hey, the spectator in front, why did you stand up? You're blocking me. A water bottle smashed over from behind. Luckily, Wuxia dodged quickly. Wuxia's face darkens. Big sister, I have something important to do. Something important? Is it more important than me watching the competition? Right now is the crucial moment. Don't tell me you still want to go on stage. The elf girl by the side also looks at Wuxia. You better sit down. Even if primitive Buddha insulted your human race, his strength is there for all to see. This is how the strong are respected. A small character like you, no one will take you seriously. Wuxia lowers his head and smiles. What strength? A strength that you will never be able to reach in your lifetime. He instantly killed your human race's genius with only 6 Sarira prayer beads. He defeated the strongest person in your human race. The girl says with disdain. Oh, you're talking about this strength? Then it's a pity. It's not enough to enter my eyes. I really can't stand you anymore. Before the girl can finish her words, she looks at Wuxia and realizes that he is no longer in his seat. At the edge of the stage, a person wearing the gray outer disciple robe of the extreme immortal sect is walking towards the stage step by step. The surroundings are incomparably noisy. However, a voice that isn't too loud suppresses everyone's voice. You want to challenge 4C's expedition? You're not qualified. When everyone looks towards the direction of the voice and sees the person walking onto the stage, many people cover their mouths in shock. No, impossible. Is it him? Is it him? Oh my God. Are my eyes playing tricks on me? This is definitely impossible. Cough, cough, cough. Quick, help me up. Let me see clearly. Gufei says to Yinran, Dongfangji and Moran, his voice filled with urgency. It's him, it's really him. Is he back? On the main stage, Nantian Ling Xiao and the elders of the extreme immortal sect all widen their eyes in shock. Am I hallucinating? He's still alive. Nanshan's voice trembles and his eyes are red. Ling Xiao, you said he's already dead. Elder Ling Xiao is more shocked than anyone else. Sect Master. I'm sure I saw him being taken away by the Void Beast. I'm absolutely sure. It's just that. I don't know, this is impossible. However, even more people don't recognize this person. They all ask each other questions. Hey, who's that guy? Look, so many people from the extreme immortal sect are so excited. What's that? That's the outer disciple robe of the extreme immortal sect, right? How can an outer disciple have the face to go up on stage? He's probably courting death, right? Sigh. Some people just let their emotions affect their decisions. At this moment, that person jumped onto the stage and stood in the middle of the stage, looking at the stage. Hey, that gorilla, I heard you're very strong. Chapter 589. The primitive Buddha beast glared at the person on the stage. Kid, who are you talking to? You really don't know if you look like a gorilla? Guo Yinran couldn't hold it in and almost burst out laughing. This guy's words are really infuriating. But he really didn't die. He died? Sigh, that guy is really tough, Dongfangji said. I wonder how strong he is now. Beishua Gufei stared at Wuxia. Surpassing that person was his motivation for the past 1.5 years. Will he be in danger? Guo Yinran asked. That Buddha beast is too strong. Although he is arrogant, he has indeed hidden his strength. Even Miao Qingshan couldn't find out his true strength. In the elf spectator area, The young elf girl's eyes almost popped out. That guy who had been chattering beside her really went on stage. And he directly challenged the champion. This guy. He doesn't want to live anymore. The primitive Buddha beast jumped down from the 20-meter-high stage and landed on the stage with a loud bang. Kid, I think you are tired of living. Lu Chen looked at him indifferently. Alright, you want to die? The alliance tournament is over. Since you challenged me, you are no longer restricted by the rules of the alliance tournament. The Buddha beast glared at Lu Chen fiercely. As he spoke, his eyes were filled with killing intent, and he said word by word. I will beat you to death in front of so many people. I really? Then is it too late for me to step down now? Ha 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 ha, step down? What are you thinking? What happened to your arrogance just now? My stage is not something you can go up and down as you wish. Lu Chen shook his head. If that's the case, then fine. I can only play with you. Wait. A voice sounded. Then, 4C's expedition flashed in front of Lu Chen. He looked at Lu Chen. His outfit seemed to indicate Lu Chen's strength. Outer sect disciple of Celestial Pole. Young man, you should leave. If he wants to fight with me, I'll accept. You don't have to risk your life. Lu Chen stopped fooling around when it came to the 4C's expedition. He shook his head and said seriously. Since he came prepared, he must have done some research on you. You're seriously injured. Even if you win, you'll only add to your injuries. The loss outweighs the gain. When one's body is heavily injured, the greatest taboo is to start a fight before one's injuries have healed. This is something that I have a deep understanding of. Lu Chen, of course, had experienced it deeply. In the third layer of heaven, he had been in a heavily injured state for more than a month. He did not want to experience that feeling again. Moreover, with his identity as the 4C's expedition, he must have accumulated a lot of resources. If he couldn't recover in such a short period of time, his injuries must be very serious. Young man, thank you for your kindness, but at most, I will have to rest for a while. As for you, you may not even have the chance to recuperate. Lu Chen smiled. Big Boss Expedition, the human race's immortal army needs you. The longer you're not in the army, the more danger it will be in. The 4C's expedition looked at this young man in surprise. Disregarding the difference in status, this young man's insight was different from ordinary people. Besides, I'm not doing this for you. A few of my friends were bitten by this mad dog. I have to settle this debt with him. At this moment, the 4C's expedition could see that this young man was full of confidence. He frowned slightly. Young man, are you confident? He hasn't used his full strength yet. Lu Chen smiled. Great Heaven General, just watch the fight. The 4C's expedition was finally convinced by Lu Chen and returned to the rostrum. He turned back and asked Nantian. Nantian, is this person a disciple of your immortal apex sect? How strong is he? Great Heaven General, he is indeed a disciple of my immortal apex sect. However, I don't dare to call him a disciple. Oh, why? No one in the immortal apex sect dares to be his master. Back then, I wanted to give up the position of sect leader to him. However, he only wanted to be a carefree outer disciple. Oh, there's such a thing. Wait, could he be the one who defeated 60 top disciples from the 12 great sects? It's Brother Du Kuang. So it's him. I've long heard that this young man is arrogant. Now it seems like it's true. Even that beast Buddha isn't as arrogant as him. The 4C's expedition looked at Lu Chen again, his eyes shining brightly. Oh right, Nantian. In this 1.5 years has his strength improved? Great Heaven General, I don't even know when that young man came back. However, in terms of strength, there is one thing that can be used as a reference. What is it? He came back from the whirlpool. What? The Great Heaven General and his assistants all looked at Nantian, their eyes filled with shock. Came back from the whirlpool? In the history of the human race, no one who could do this didn't become a king or a minister, becoming an overlord of a region. How long did it take him? Counting it, he left the Immortal Apex sect to do a mission. It has been 1.5 years. 1.5 years, this. I have never heard of anyone coming out from the whirlpool in just 1.5 years. This fellow. Good, let me see how strong he is. Ping Yun, if there is an accident later, you must protect that young man. Yes, great heaven general. On the stage, Lu Chen said indifferently, Hey, do you dare to have a bet with me? Oh, bet. Interesting. What are your conditions? I will bet one of your prizes, purple star flowing light sword. Sure. However, if you want to bet immortal martial arts, you must take out a sufficient amount of immortal martial arts. Lu Chen smiled and casually took out a sword. I only have this sword. I will bet with it. The moment the limitless demon god sword appeared, the entire crowd went into an uproar. Why is my weapon resonating with that sword? What weapon is that? My lightning chasing bow actually trembled and left my hand. Could it be that it has an artifact spirit? This is a divine artifact. Experts, the moment they saw Lu Chen's black and white dual swords, they naturally know that it is not an ordinary item. Good, I will bet with this sword. Ha 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 ha. I did not expect that my luck this time would be so good to be able to obtain such a top-grade weapon. But you do not need to feel regret. After all, you are a person who is about to die. Such a good weapon. Of course it is best to entrust it to the most suitable person. Lu Chen smiled. You should have seen the quality of my weapon, right? So that purple star flowing light sword is still a little lacking for my bet. I want to add another condition. What? I want you to use your Sarira Buddhist bead's strongest move when you fight me. To be honest, I'm quite curious about how powerful your strongest attack is. Beast Buddha frowned. His purpose for this trip was to conquer the 4 seas. It is just that strange black and white dual swords are too attractive. If you do not agree, then I will change to another immortal artifact. Big brother Yuan Zheng, do you have any similar immortal artifacts? I do not have any capital for this bet. Can you lend me one? Yuan Zheng smiled. This fellow looks sloppy, but his actual intention is not simple. Testing out Beast Buddha's strongest move is also paving the way for him. In any case, Ping Yun will be watching that brat. So be it. You can choose any of the immortal weapons on my follower. Beast Buddha is now a little uncertain. Is that brat really going to take back that sword? That sword is definitely the Emperor of Swords. Once I miss this chance, I am afraid I will not have another chance in the future. Anyway, after I kill this brat, I will quickly challenge the 4 seas. Even if he sees my strongest move, the 4 seas will not be able to think of a way to deal with it in a short period of time. Do you want to die so badly? Fine, I will fulfill your wish. Seeing Beast Buddha agree to the bet, Lu Chen smiled. Both sides locked their weapons in the VM agreement. The battle begins. All Buddhas chant barrier. Lu Chen is immediately affected by the barrier, but he does not move. Brat, you are not going to take out your weapon? Do you have a better weapon than that sword? No, I only have one weapon. I have already used all of my cards. The group of people almost vomits blood. Even the 4 seas almost collapses. Just now he was so generous that they thought he had another powerful weapon on him. Who knew that this brat would bet everything? This is a little unexpected. The 4 seas took a deep breath. Chapter 590. Ha 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 ha, what a lunatic. Beast Buddha laughed maniacally. Actually, I don't need a weapon to fight a small fry like you. Lu Chen smiled. Suddenly, the smile on Beast Buddha's face froze. Good. I thought I was crazy enough. I didn't expect you to be even crazier than me. If you want to die under my strongest move, I'll fulfill your wish now. I'll make sure you die without a complete corpse. Relic Buddha bead. Beast Buddha floated in the air. The Buddha's light behind him shone brightly, illuminating heaven and earth. An illusory image of a Buddha appeared on Beast Buddha's body. It was dozens of meters tall, and sat in the air with a halo behind it. Oh my god, it's a star Buddha body. This skill is so powerful. That Beast Buddha is already like a giant Buddha. Is this the strongest skill of the Relic Buddha bead? Just the start of the attack has already caused a phenomenon. So Beast Buddha didn't even use 1/10 of his combat power. Beishua Gufei looked at Beast Buddha nervously. That guy is actually so strong. He might really be able to fight against the 4 seas expedition generals. Coupled with the faint chanting sound in the enchantment, Beast Buddha was like a Buddha descending to the world. At the same time, Lu Chen finally made his move. He snorted. Buddha. 6 transformations of gods and demons, 6 transformations of demons. In an instant, Lu Chen transformed into an evil child and was surrounded by black gas. He flew into the air, and the rolling black gas collided with the golden light. His momentum was not weak at all. Zhenguo Yanran was stunned. She had not seen Lu Chen in action for a long time. Although she had heard of Lu Chen's evil child form, she was still shocked. The elf girl was so shocked that her mouth was wide open. Everyone had some strength. Seeing the black gas produced by the evil child was so fierce, she naturally knew that the human kid was not weak. The devil gas is rolling. Is this guy a human or a devil? This is the battle between the devil and Buddha. At this moment, Beast Buddha had finished accumulating power and attacked Lu Chen with a palm. 1000 Buddha bead. At the same time, the effect of listen with reverence was activated, and Lu Chen was forcibly pulled in front of the Beast Buddha. This palm, there was no way to avoid it. Fortunately, Lu Chen had no intention of dodging at all. Put him to death. Dragon blood boiling. Shatter the void. Break for me. In midair, a black gas shot towards the center of the Buddha's light. 2 major skills, 1 black and 1 gold, 1 fist and 1 palm, 1 devil and 1 Buddha, collided violently in the sky. With a loud bang, heaven and earth shook. The clouds in the sky rolled, and the rumbling sound was like the sky was collapsing. A terrifying blast of air exploded outwards in a ring-shaped explosion, instantly engulfing the entire area. Under the raging wind, the high platform that was built was the first to bear the brunt. It was blown to smithereens with a destructive force. The rostrum, the auditorium, and the buildings collapsed. In the inner mountains of the extreme immortal sect, the surrounding trees were uprooted and rocks were sent flying. The crowd burst into an uproar. Golden Shield. The immortal army will assist the disciples of the immortal apex sect in maintaining order. What a powerful aftershock. This? What level of cultivation technique is this? I can't see the damage clearly. Motherfucker. Are they trying to create a hole in the sky? After a long time, the gale gradually stopped, the strong light dispersed, and the dark clouds dispersed. The people couldn't wait to look at the sky. At this moment, the special effects around the 2 people in the sky had all dissipated. Seeing the situation of the 2 people, countless people covered their mouths in horror. There was nothing abnormal with the evil child, but the Beast Buddha. At this moment, most of the Beast Buddha's body had disappeared. The missing part was shaped like a crescent moon. Even someone as experienced and knowledgeable as the 4 Seas expedition couldn't help but take half a step back. This method. Isn't it too cruel? With 1 punch, most of the Beast Buddha's body was blown away. The elf girl was already so scared that her face was ashen. Of course, people like you don't know what it feels like to be killed instantly. You're not on the same level as the Beast Buddha. But at this moment, her heart trembled. That guy instantly killed the Beast Buddha in his strongest state with just 1 punch. More than half of the Beast Buddha's body was gone. The health bar was no longer important. It was almost certain that this kind of physical damage could directly take the life of the Beast Buddha in the real world. The entire audience was shocked into silence. Everyone had complicated emotions in their hearts. Shock, disbelief, and an extremely strong sense of fear. That guy was really as cruel as a demon. In front of him, the Beast Buddha's things were simply child's play. The evil child opened his mouth and licked his lips. He grabbed with 1 hand and caught a string of Buddha beads. Sarira Buddha beads. The gambling match was undoubtedly over. The limitless sword and the purple star meteor sword returned to Lu Chen's hands. Lu Chen took out the limitless sword. Hey, I know that you feel wronged when I pushed you out. Here, I'll give you this as compensation. The limitless sword immediately disregarded the previous grudges and formed a black and white whirlpool at the tip of the sword. Lu Chen directly threw the Sarira Buddha beads into it. Devour the Sarira Buddha beads. Looking at the broken corpse in front of him, Lu Chen snorted coldly. If this person had only seriously injured Gufei and the others, Lu Chen would probably only give him a taste of his own medicine. But since he had the idea of the 4 Seas expedition, it was obvious that this guy had ulterior motives. If he didn't kill him, there would be endless trouble. Returning to the arena, Lu Chen turned invisible and returned to his human form. Looking at Beishue Gufei from afar, Lu Chen threw the purple star meteor sword over. Hey Gufei, senior brother will give this sword to you. Senior brother? This guy actually called himself senior brother, just because he came to the ultimate immortal sect more than a year earlier. One had to know that Gufei's identity was at least an inner disciple. As an outer disciple, he was quite thick-skinned. However, no one dared to question him. Gufei looked at Lu Chen from afar. He was both angry and amused. This guy. Thank you, senior brother. Lu Chen nodded in satisfaction. Standing on the arena, Lu Chen's gaze swept across the audience. Looking at the shocked faces, Lu Chen sighed. It wasn't easy for others to choose a champion, but he had instantly defeated him. Wasn't that a little bad? It felt like he had ruined someone else's good fortune. Ahem, that aren't there still 2 or 3 awards? Why don't you guys continue? Inadvertently, Lu Chen's gaze landed on the podium. Right now, the podium was already hanging on some random tree. Forget it, let's go. Sorry to disturb you, goodbye. With that, Lu Chen hurriedly slipped away. Lu Chen left, leaving behind a group of dumbfounded spectators. Half a minute later, over 100,000 spectators almost blew up the Immortal Sect mountain. Oh my god, I can't believe my eyes. Are you kidding me? He instantly defeated Beast Buddha. Instantly defeated him, with one punch. That's too ruthless, is that guy even human? Why is he wearing the outer disciple uniform of the Ultimate Immortal Sect? Hey, senior brother of the Ultimate Immortal Sect, may I ask, who exactly is that guy? He also happened to ask someone in the know. That person had an unfathomable expression. He looked into the distance and spoke in a profound tone. Sir, good question. Who is he? Where did he come from? No one knows. You just need to remember one thing. That person is our ultimate immortal sect. No, our human race's #1 outer disciple of all time. #1 outer disciple of all time. Then what is his name? Please remember this ID, because he will definitely become the most dazzling name in the future. That person was still immersed in his own world. His tone was ethereal. He has a golden ID. It's called lone. Arrogant. Chapter 591. Lu Chen hadn't gone far when an unfamiliar man chased after him. His ID was Celestial Army Ping Yin. Hey, Solipsistic, please wait. Our great Celestial General wants to see you. Lu Chen stopped in his tracks. The reaction over there is probably too big. I don't want to go back. Ping Yin looked at Lu Chen and thought to himself, you should know that the situation over there is too big. It's about to explode. The Celestial Army and Celestial Peak Sect are busy trying to maintain order. This guy is running away as soon as he's done. They're wrapping things up over there and need the great Celestial General to be there. How about this? When things are done over there, can I trouble you to come to the Celestial Peak Sect's meeting room? Oh sure. I want to see my friend too. In the Celestial Peak Sect's meeting room, there were only 4 Seas Expedition, Ping Yin, Southern Sky, Elderling Xiao Gufei, Dongfang Ji Moran, Zhenghua Yanran, and the late Lu Chen. As soon as Lu Chen walked in leisurely, he was stopped by a figure. Hey, how did you become so strong? Zhenghua Yanran said angrily. She had used a year and a half to go from stage 2 to stage 3. After becoming a top-tier player, she had teamed up with Gufei and the others to enter stage 4. After cultivating so hard, she had finally caught up to Lu Chen. However, when she saw Lu Chen's terrifying punch the moment she arrived, her confidence took another hit. With her strong personality, she was definitely not convinced. Lu Chen, on the other hand, became humble. Am I strong? No, I'm still far from that. Zhenghua Yanran looked at Lu Chen in surprise. Why did your personality change? Gufei walked up and said, for a lone tyrant to have such strength, he must have experienced more than us. Naturally, his vision is different from ours. Lu Chen smiled. How are your injuries? I won't die yet, but I'll need some time to recover. Dongfang Ji also walked over. Hey, I thought you were dead. Yanran even cried for a few days. Guo Yanran instantly exploded. Hey, what are you talking about? Dongfang Ji, if you dare to talk nonsense again, I'll tell your sister and ask her to teach you a lesson. Lu Chen's face darkened. These guys. Mo Ran walked over and smiled at Lu Chen. It's great that you're back. That's right, let's not just talk about old times. It's a bit rude. Let's go see the elders first. Lu Chen nodded and walked in front of 4C's expedition and the others. He cupped his fists and said, Greetings, Great Heaven General, Zhong Heaven General Sect Leader, and Elder Ling. Nan Tian hurried over and slapped Lu Chen on the shoulder. You stinking brat. Why didn't you come and find me as soon as you came back? I saw that you guys were busy. What could be more important than your return? Elder Ling Xiao smiled and said, That's right. The sect master has been blaming himself for the past year. He kept saying that he shouldn't have let you go on the exploration. Lu Chen smiled. This is my own decision. Old brother Nan Tian, why do you have to blame yourself? 4C's expedition laughed. Ha 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 ha, you little brat. I couldn't tell. Lu Chen looked at 4C's expedition curiously. I didn't expect you to have so many friends despite your sloppy appearance. All of them are trustworthy companions. Solipsistic. TSK. This name suits you very well. I've never seen anyone more arrogant than you. Lu Chen sighed. Sigh, no one would believe me if I said this. I'm actually very low-key. I believe you. 4C's expedition suddenly said. Or rather, your arrogance isn't frivolous arrogance. Some people like to show off their strength in front of people weaker than them. It's a form of pride, but you don't care about that. I heard you say that you don't think you're strong. In other people's ears, this is a form of arrogance. But if I'm not wrong, you must have met a stronger opponent in the whirlpool. So you really don't think you're strong enough. You could have easily won the championship in a competition, like the Alliance competition. But you didn't participate. If not for the appearance of someone like Beast Buddha, you probably wouldn't even show your face. Because this kind of competition has no real meaning for you to become stronger. It's purely for showing off. I heard from Nan Tian that you're willing to be an outer sect disciple because you only want to cultivate in peace. Tell me, am I right? Lu Chen was almost moved to tears. He was like a person who was never understood by others and suddenly found a soulmate. Big Brother was indeed a big brother. What he said was too true. Big Heaven General is right. Ha 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 ha, kid. It's been a long time since I met a young man like you. Ping Yin looked at Lu Chen with admiration. Big Heaven General, such a talent should be recruited into our immortal army and nurtured well. 4C's expedition shook his head. No, Ping Yin, this jade is pure and natural. There's no need to carve it. Solipsistic, the immortal army's rules are strict. It's too restrictive for you. I believe that even if you don't join the immortal army, you'll still become stronger. Of course, if one day you get tired of playing outside and want to make a name for yourself, you can come find me at any time. I can wait until the day you come. When these words came out, Nan Tian and Ping Yin were shocked. 4C's expedition's meaning, other than thinking highly of Solipsistic and giving Lu Chen sufficient freedom, seemed to have another hidden meaning. 4C's expedition had been the Big Heaven General for more than 20 years. The other races had already changed a few batches of Big Heaven Generals. Only the human race had always been the 4C's expedition. After so many years, the 4C's expedition was also tired. He had long wanted to find a suitable person. Lu Chen was also not a fool. He frowned slightly. Big Heaven General, I don't think I'll stop at the 4th Heaven domain. 4C's expedition was not too surprised. He smiled and nodded. I know. Of course you won't stop at the 4th Heaven. But I also believe that you won't leave the Human Race Alliance in danger. Just like this alliance competition, I'm not waiting for you to take over my position. I'm waiting for the day you make a move. Lu Chen took a deep breath. He had only spoken with 4C's expedition twice, but he was already very respectful towards this old man. It was not because he was a Big Heaven General, but because of his responsibility, foresight and charisma. Alright, Beast Buddha provoked me while I was injured. I believe there's more to this matter. I need to go and deal with it. 4C's expedition stood up and said, Nan Tian, Elder Ling, and my fellow little friends, I will also be leaving the extreme immortal sect. Big Heaven General, why don't you rest here for a few days before leaving? Nan Tian asked. No need. I'm afraid I can't recover from my injuries. But it's fine. I rarely take action myself now. It's fine with Ping Yin by my side. My friends, you all have great potential. I like your personalities. This is my Heaven General token. If you come to the Immortal Army in the future, you can bring this token to find me. Ping Yin stepped forward and gave Lu Chun and the other four a wooden token. The wooden token was small and exquisite. On it were the words Heaven General. On the bottom right corner was a seal. It should be 4 Seas Expedition. Chapter 592. Nantian was very excited to see the 5 disciples of the sect get the Heavenly General token. Even the great Heavenly General thinks highly of the 5 of you. When you go to the Immortal Army, you will have a bright future. Dongfangji frowned. The great Heavenly General thinks highly of Solipsistic. We just got it in passing. Dongfangji was just telling the truth. Elder Ling Xiao smiled and shook his head. The great Heavenly General has always been decisive. Why would he give you the Heavenly General token just because of this? Nantian also said, in fact, the 4 of you coming to my Immortal Top sect was also planned by the great Heavenly General. He told me that he would find me a few capable disciples. It can be seen that he already thinks highly of you. A disciple came to report that there were still many things in the sect that needed the sect master's attention. Nantian and Ling Xiao did not have time to chat with Lu Chen before leaving. Brother Lone Quang, let's go deal with the follow-up matters first. Don't leave the sect for the next 2 days. I still have a lot to tell you. Lu Chen returned to his residence, and Yin Ran and the others followed him. Lu Chen poured a cup of tea for everyone, and they sat down and chatted. How is the 3rd layer now? Dongfangji said. You left an illusion there, so the other races did not dare to act rashly. The situation has been very stable. Now in the 3rd layer, the resources of the human clan are hundreds of times more than before. The human clan is gradually growing stronger. I believe that after a while, even without your illusion, the other races will not dare to act rashly. What Lu Chen left behind was not an illusion, but a minor originator. My illusion Cowherd, Mountain Picking Strength Frost Dance, Green Shirt, and the others, how are they? What's so bad about the illusion? But Cowherd took your illusion to clear dungeons all day long, and wandered in the new territory of the human clan. Cowherd's strength is now very strong, and the people in your original team are like on steroids. Their strength has increased rapidly, and several of them have the title of Marshal. I didn't pay attention to Green Shirt. He may have been busy with the affairs of Autumnfall City, but the influence of Autumnfall City is now much greater than before. The title of Cowherd is now Marshal? Lu Chen was rather surprised. Didn't the old man say that he wasn't going to work hard anymore? The 3rd heaven was currently very stable, so Lu Chen was relieved. When the Earth players entered the 3rd heaven, they would not have to face such a harsh environment. Moran suddenly said, don't you think that the matter of the great Heavenly General isn't that simple? Gufei nodded. Moran, do you think so too? Moran said, the matter of the human race's great Heaven General being heavily injured should be an absolute secret. Yet, the Beast Buddha knew about it in advance, and even set up a trap. Although the Beast Buddha was insta-killed, his strength still far surpasses the standard of his peers in the same competition. I don't believe that there isn't something fishy going on. Lu Chen frowned and said meaningfully, actually the Beast Buddha is very strong. Gui Yinran rolled her eyes at him. What right do you have to say that? Lu Chen almost choked on his tea. Big sis, can't I say that he's strong? The other 4 said in unison, no. If you say that he's strong, it means that you're stronger. Lu Chen's face darkened. A person's jealousy was too terrifying. Cough cough. I'm not joking with you guys. I'm serious. Lu Chen shook his head. Actually, what I used was my strongest move. Shattering the void can break the void vortex. What's the effect of shattering the void? 100 times the damage. Lu Chen said. Under the 6 devil transformations, coupled with Death Land and Dragon Blood Boil. Plus 100 times the damage. How terrifying was this attack? Although the crowd was unable to determine the exact value, they were extremely shocked. The power that wants to plot against the great heavenly general actually has such a strong newcomer. Their strength is truly terrifying. Moran said a fair sentence. I feel that the great heavenly general seems to know something. Luchin shook his head. The immortal army gathers most of the resources of the fourth heavenly layer. The position of great heavenly general is above tens of thousands of people. It's not hard to imagine that there would be people coveting it. Although the immortal army is an alliance, those who are not of our race will definitely have different intentions, Dongfangji said. That's right. Moreover, the four great heavenly generals only have 4 positions. Not all allied races have the qualifications to be assigned a great heavenly general. There will definitely be open and covert struggles. Yinran also said. The great heavenly general said that he'll wait for you to make a move. Perhaps he's not referring to fighting against the other 8 alliances. Luchin nodded. These things are not something we can figure out for now. Since the great heavenly general wisdom fruit has already sensed it, I believe that he will investigate it thoroughly. As for waiting for me to make a move, we'll see when the time comes. Right now, I just want to level up. In the vortex, I saw an even stronger existence. Right now my strength is not enough. I must become stronger. Since Luchin said so, the others naturally understood that their own strength was the most important. By the way, Lone Tyrant, are you really not planning to go to the immortal army? Gufei asked. The growth rate there is the fastest. Luchin shook his head. There are also many areas without exploration fruits in the rear. For example, the vortex. This time, I profited from a disaster and learned how to shatter the void. Then what do you plan to do next? Luchin smiled slightly. Speaking of which, it's a coincidence. There's an instance dungeon that I need a few helpers for. However, I'm not too sure if this instance dungeon can be attempted. Ah, what instance dungeon is so mysterious? Luchin nodded. The Azura instance dungeon. The Azura instance dungeon? How come I've never heard of it? It's the instance dungeon inside the Saraira beads. After saying that, Luchin raised his hand, and a miniature black hole appeared in his palm. This is... Even Luchin himself did not expect that after Limitless Sword devoured the Saraira beads, it did not obtain the 108 special effects. Instead, it obtained an instance dungeon. This was also what he noticed when he checked Limitless Sword's attributes. This was the first time he encountered it. Luchin pushed the newly obtained special effect to everyone. Special effect. Azura Instance Dungeon, formed by fusing the 108 special effects of the Saraira beads. Unique. Azura Instance Dungeon, Vortex World, 5-man Instance Dungeon, difficulty Purgatory. There's actually an instance dungeon hidden in the equipment? This is simply unheard of. That beast Buddha already had the Saraira beads. However, he was unable to fuse all the special effects. I'm afraid that even when he died, he still did not know that there was an instance dungeon hanging around his neck. Lone Tyrant, how did you fuse all the special effects together? Luchin shook his head. My Limitless Sword can do it. However, this is the first time I've encountered such a situation. The description says that this is the Vortex World. Then, this instance dungeon might have the characteristics of a void vortex. Once you can't find the exit, you won't be able to come out. Everyone was silent. This was equivalent to entering the vortex on their own accord. However, Luchin smiled. However, consider yourselves lucky. If you follow me in, at the very least, you should be able to come out. That's true. You have the ability to break through the void. Gufei said. Luchin shook his head. I might not be able to come out even if I break through the void. In the previous vortex, I almost did not come out. Ah, then why are you so sure? Because I have this. Luchin smiled and took out a key. Vortex key, an ordinary key. Effect. The key that can open any vortex world and return to the main world. Chapter 593. Little Green, check on Gufei's injuries. Let's go to the Azura world to take a look. A woman in green appeared beside Luchin, and checked on Beishua Gufei's injuries. It's not a big deal. Just use some high-level martial body pills. We happen to have some materials here. I can refine some. Then I'll have to trouble you, little green. Everyone was dumbfounded. Lu Chen, why you have a personal doctor? Guo Yanran was the most surprised. She didn't know that Lu Chen had such a ghost pet. The others were shocked by Lu Yi's current alchemist rank. High-level martial body pills. That's a very rare pill. Only an 8-star alchemist can refine it. Lu Chen smiled. Just leave it to little green. 10 minutes later, Lu Yi handed Gufei 5 pills. Take them every morning. Calculate the time and take one a day. You should be healed in 3 days. Take them. Let's go to the Azura world soon, Lu Chen said with a smile. 3 days later, while the Immortal Apex sect was still busy, Lu Chen had already brought Guo Yanran, Beishua Gufei, Dongfangji, and Emo Ran into the Azura world dungeon. Azura was a Sanskrit word that meant not heaven. It was like heaven but not heaven. As soon as the 5 of them entered the Azura world, they realized that the world here was different from the world they were familiar with. The sky was yellow, the ground was yellow, and there were strange flames everywhere. Is this the Azura world? Guo Yanran was a little nervous. Why is there nothing here? Who is our opponent? What's here? Lu Chen carefully observed the surroundings, but didn't find any living creatures. Yanran, this is probably a place none of us have been to before. We have to explore everything ourselves. At this moment, a notification appeared in front of the 5 of them. This is the Azura world. There are 108 Buddhas with their inner demons here. Cleanse your inner demons and gain enlightenment of Buddhism. Time remaining before the Azura world closes permanently 2:59. 59, Legendary Level Hidden Mission. Cleanse Inner Demons Mission Description. Defeat all 108 inner demons within the specified time. Mission reward different blessings. What is the meaning of this? Legendary Hidden Quest. We've activated a legendary hidden quest. Lu Chen frowned. Jiutian was indeed full of opportunities. Who would have thought that a necklace would hide an instance dungeon and a legendary hidden quest? However, defeating 108 inner demons within 3 hours was not the difficult part. The difficult part was, where were the inner demons? Right at this moment, Dongfangji suddenly walked towards the north, without a word, as if he was possessed. Dongfangji, what are you doing there? I saw an inner demon. It's right there. Everyone was surprised. What inner demon? Dongfangji looked at the crowd. Release the emotions in your hearts that are preventing you from becoming stronger. Try it. Guo Yanran immediately calmed down. The obstruction is getting stronger. It should be my impulsiveness. As soon as she finished speaking, her gaze changed. She looked ahead as if she was looking at someone. Just as I thought. I also saw an inner demon. Gufei frowned. Then I should be arrogant. That over there, is the inner demon? Moran thought for a long time. Then I'm indecisive? There really is an inner demon. It seems that only those who have such inner demons can see the corresponding inner demons. In other words, others can't help. What are you afraid of? It's just fighting. The difficulty of a legendary mission shouldn't be too high. Time is of the essence. Everyone, get rid of the inner demons that you can see as soon as possible. The 4 of them went to fight the inner demons separately. However, Lu Chen was rather depressed. Damn it, why didn't I see anything? Preventing me from becoming stronger. What is preventing me from becoming stronger? Greed. There's no corresponding inner demon. Selfishness? No arrogance? No, I don't think I'm arrogant. There really isn't. Everyone else seized the time to fight the inner demons. Only Lu Chen could not think of his own inner demons. Could it be that I don't have inner demons at all? That I was born to become stronger? That I'm a perfect person? Now no one listened to his nonsense. In short, Lu Chen thought of all kinds of personalities, but he did not see the so-called inner demons. No way, I brought them here. In the end, I'm the only one who can't find the inner demons. What the hell is going on? Family? Yes, Mu Xian said that the strong will abandon their emotions. I think of Lu Yi all day long. This is the inner demon that is preventing me from becoming stronger. Come out. There were sounds of fighting around. Now Lu Chen couldn't even see Gu Fei and the others, let alone the inner demons. Damn, it's on purpose. This doesn't count as an inner demon? Lu Chen was completely helpless. What kind of broken dungeon is this? It's targeting me. Sitting on the ground, Lu Chen shook his head. He didn't know if they could complete the mission in the time limit. When the time came, as the team leader, he should be able to get a share of the rewards. At this moment, Lu Chen and the others' interface showed a new notification. Detected demon symbiotic body. Target will be teleported to the Azura Temple. Solipsistic will be teleported to the Azura Temple. 3 hours later, the Azura God Remnant will appear. Every time an inner demon is killed, the Azura God Remnant's strength will decrease. After killing all 108 inner demons, the Azura God Remnant will be in its weakest state. All attributes in the fourth dimension will drop to 1 million. Seeing this news, everyone almost spat out a mouthful of blood, dropped to its weakest state, and all attributes in the fourth dimension still had 1 million. What the hell was this? And the person who was teleported was, without a doubt, Lu Chen. Before Lu Chen could see the notification clearly, he was teleported to a magnificent hall. In the middle of the hall, a huge statue of a god that was hundreds of meters tall stood there. It was a true 3-headed and 6-armed statue. Each head had a heaven's eye. Countless visible airflow around him gathered into the heaven's eye on his forehead. It was as if this world existed for him to cultivate. 6 elements could be seen on his 6 palms. Water, fire, metal, wood, light, and darkness. It was as if he controlled the operation of this world. At this moment, the 9 eyes of this statue were all slightly closed. They did not open, because of Lu Chen's arrival. This is the Azura God Remnant. What level is this God Remnant? God Remnant could be divided into many levels, according to the amount of spiritual energy it had. For example, the Divine Beast Remnant in the Fog Forest was very weak. The White Tiger Remnant in the Mountain Protection Array was several times stronger than other Divine Beast Remnant of the same level. It was not that the White Tiger was stronger than the Black Dragon or the Azure Dragon, but that the Mountain Protection Divine Beast had more spiritual energy. At this moment, the statue in front of him was already towering into the clouds. It was like a true god of creation was here. Lu Chen's eyes widened. Don't tell me I have to fight with this guy. Fortunately, he brought Gu Fei and the others with him. If Lu Chen fought with this guy now, he would probably be killed instantly. Chapter 594. The situation now was that the more inner demons Gu Fei and the others killed, the weaker the Azura Soul Remnant Lu Chen would have to face. In the party chat, they were urgently discussing a countermeasure. How are we going to get through this? 108 inner demons. Within 180 minutes, each of us has to kill 27 inner demons. Moreover, even if we kill all of them, isn't it too much to ask for 1 million each? Lone Tyrant, just use the key and leave. At this moment, Lu Chen's voice was heard. Since we're a party, I won't leave alone. The Jiutian has existed for who knows how long. If we walk the path that others have walked before, then we will never surpass our predecessors. So, we have to walk a path that no one else has walked before. You came to the Azura world with me because you trusted me. Now, I'm returning this trust to you. The Azura Soul Remnant is not something I can deal with. This guy, I've never seen such a big boss before. Only by reducing its strength to the minimum will I have a chance of winning. Now please help me kill 108 Buddha inner demons. Not long after, Gu Fei's voice was heard. Wait for our good news. Lu Chen naturally knew how difficult it was to kill 108 Buddha's inner demons within 3 hours. Each battle could not exceed 2 minutes, and this also included the time for rest and recovery. Even if the 4 of them gave it their all, it would be difficult to achieve this goal. However, Lu Chen did not have a better idea. The Azura Soul Remnant was the biggest boss he had ever seen. According to the Jiutian's habits, the stronger the boss, the bigger its body. This guy was a few hundred meters tall, and its strength was dozens of times stronger than other bosses. Moreover, this was the Azura world. The surroundings were constantly providing spiritual energy for that guy. Only God knew what would happen when it opened its eyes. Even if all 108 inner demons were killed, Lu Chen did not have the confidence to defeat this guy. Luckily, I let Wuji Sword eat a lot of equipment, and I also took some pills. My attributes have increased a lot. If the four-dimensional monsters have an average of 1 million, I can still fight. Not long after, Lu Chen saw that the progress of the Cleansing Inner Demons mission had become 1/108. Someone had killed the first inner demon. It took 3 minutes and 44 seconds. At this rate, it's over. However, one after another, more people killed the inner demons. 4 of 108. It took 6 minutes and 38 seconds. It seems that the inner demons aren't that hard to kill. The real difficulty lies in finding the inner demons. It's possible that some people have plenty of time, but they just can't find a new inner demon. Moreover, they have to fight continuously. By the middle and late stages, their stamina, energy and skill cooldowns will all be problems. Their speed definitely won't be as fast. Thinking of this, Lu Chen was a little worried. This was simply an impossible task. Damn it, I just had to be teleported out. Otherwise, I could have taken them away. It seems this instant's dungeon cannot be entered repeatedly. If I leave now, they will be trapped here forever. Even if Lu Chen was anxious now, it was useless. There was nothing he could do now, so he could only observe the statue in front of him. A remnant soul is already so powerful. How strong are the true bodies of those gods and mythical beasts? Lu Chen roughly thought about it. Mu Xian and the mountain man were itinerant immortals, so they shouldn't be considered gods, Buddhas, demons, and immortals. Above Mu Xian and the rest, there should be true immortals who had successfully passed the tribulation, or celestial primes or gods. How strong are these so-called gods compared to celestial primes? What stage am I at now? Lu Chen shook his head. He couldn't come into contact with these levels at the moment. Perhaps even Nantian, and the rest didn't really come into contact with these levels. The fourth heaven was known as the first heaven of the fifth heaven. Perhaps the answer could only be found at the fifth heaven. I feel that the Azura remnant soul is slightly smaller than before. It seems that after Gufei and the rest killed the 4 inner demons, the Azura remnant soul's strength weakened. 10 minutes later, 8/108. So fast. Lu Chen was a little surprised. Not only did Gufei and the rest not slow down, they actually sped up. Kill more inner demons. Lu Chen prayed to the Azura statue. 25 minutes later, 16/108. 60 minutes later, 35 of 108. Faster, faster. Lu Chen shouted anxiously. 1 hour later, 38 of 108. There's still time. Keep it up. 2 hours later, 76 out of 108. So strong. There are still 32 missions left. Keep it up. However, Lu Chen's estimation was not wrong. The further they went, the faster they killed the inner demons. There were 10 minutes left before the 3 hours. At this time, there were 12 inner demons left. Time passed by slowly. In the last minute, Gufei and the rest had just killed the last batch of inner demons. Now there were 4 inner demons left. Only 4 left. I didn't meet the requirements. I wonder how strong the Azura is. However, when there were only 3 to 4 seconds left in the countdown, the 4 inner demons were killed at the same time. All 108 inner demons were purged within 3 hours. Oh my god, how did they do it? They're too strong. Lu Chen was very excited. Although the Azura statue was still abnormally tall, it was only 100 meters tall. It was many times smaller than before. It was worth mentioning that the Azura statue was still about 300 meters tall earlier. When the last inner demon was eliminated, the Azura statue shrunk to 100 meters. In other words, if they only killed 107 inner demons, the Azura Soul Remnant's attributes would be much higher than 1 million. They had to eliminate all 108 inner demons to achieve the current effect. All 108 Buddha inner demons have been killed. The Azura Soul Remnant's basic attributes will reach 1 million. At the same time, Gufei and the rest were transported to the Azura Temple. When Lu Chen saw the 4 of them, he saw that they were covered in wounds. None of them could even walk. They had to support each other to prevent themselves from falling. Luchan hurried over to support them. You guys are too strong. Dongfang Ji shook his head. We've already overspent. I'll leave the rest to you. With that, the four of them fell and leaned against the stone pillar. Oh my god, that's the Azura Soul Remnant. Looks like the battle has just begun. Fighting the Azura Soul Remnant in the Azura world is equivalent to fighting on its home ground. Lone Tyrant, can you win? Now that we're together, we should be able to run, right? Solipsistic looked at the huge statue behind him and heaved a sigh of relief. There's no need to run. If his attributes are only 1 million, I can guarantee that we'll be safe. All 4 of his attributes are 1 million, not 1 million in total. I know he's a little higher than me. Also, I'm not sure if he's stronger in the Azura world than outside. But no matter what, I won't lose. The 4 of them looked at Luchan in shock. He shouldn't be joking at such a time. But how could he be so confident? The statue had already loosened. In the dim yellow sky, the god had awakened. Luchan stood in front of the statue and took a deep breath. It's time to use that move. Chaos Domain. Chapter 595. The giant Azura had just awakened, and the Azura world seemed to be collapsing. The surrounding spiritual energy formed a substantial gale, and the roofless temple was on the verge of collapse. At this time, Luchan activated God and Demon symbiosis, and at the same time, activated his strongest domain, Chaos Domain. For a moment, the entire dungeon was shrouded in a starry sky. It's a domain. That guy has already mastered a domain-type skill. His speed of improvement is too fast. Captain's domain is so strong. Do you feel it? But Azura's attributes are so abnormal, can he win? Azura opened his eyes slightly and looked at the tiny gray dot in front of him that was bursting with a surging aura of God and Demon. God and Demon dual cultivation? Azura's voice was low and distant, as if it came from ancient times. Luchan's green and gold eyes stared at Azura. That guy's 6 arms moved like octopus tentacles. In addition to the head in front of him, there were 2 more heads on both sides. Non-heaven Azura. Luchan spat out 3 words. This guy was neither god nor demon, as if he was his opposite. All 4 of his attributes had reached 1 million, especially his spiritual energy. This attribute was beyond Luchan's reach. This guy's attack was absolutely abnormal. Without counting the lifelock skill, Luchan wasn't even sure if he could take a hit from him. Azura spoke again. My world doesn't allow an individual like you to exist. So you can only die. There wasn't much prelude to the confrontation between these 2 super powerhouses. Azura's handprint. Suddenly, Luchan felt an abnormal airflow above his head. Almost relying on intuition, he flashed away with Night Flash. Luchan's front foot had just left when the ground he was originally on collapsed instantly. The ground sunk into a nearly 10-meter deep pit in the shape of a palm. Luchan was shocked. He didn't even see Azura attack. However, before he could process this information, Luchan felt the spiritual energy on both sides of his body move strangely again. 7 stars chasing the moon. Just as he escaped from the opponent's attack range, a loud noise came from behind him. It was as if 2 big hands collided in the air. Are you trying to swat me like a fly? Luchan narrowed his eyes slightly. He couldn't see the path of this Buddhist seal attack at all. Even the eye of the dark gods couldn't predict it. The Azura world could be seen as the natural domain of the Azuras. Its level seemed to be no weaker than the primal chaos domain, causing the primal chaos domain to be unable to devour the Azura world. However, although he couldn't directly absorb Azura world's spiritual energy, Luchan's sensitivity to spiritual energy had greatly increased within the chaos domain. It was precisely by relying on his sharp spiritual energy perception that Luchan was able to avoid Azura's palm twice. That guy has 6 arms. If he attacks continuously. Before Luchan could finish speaking, he realized that he had jinxed himself. Although the Azura's 6 arms did not attack at the same time, 4 of them had already begun to move. Boom, boom, boom. One after another, invisible giant hands blasted towards Luchan at lightning speed. Oh no, they're really here. Put him to death, and let his dragon blood boil. Lu Chen hurriedly controlled his HP to an extremely low level. With the help of the passive skill Frenzy, he greatly reduced the cooldown of his skills. Ghostly Shadows. Descend. Descend was no longer useful. The speed of the palm seals was too fast. It was already too late to use Descend alone. Infinite Triple Door. In coordination with Descend, Lu Chen tried to get close to the Azura several times. However, the ubiquitous palm seals accurately predicted Lu Chen's landing point time and time again, forcing him to change his route at the last minute. Damn it, this guy seems to be able to see through my next move. In a moment of distraction, Lu Chen had just avoided 2 palm seals. The moment he appeared, the Azura's steady and solemn voice sounded almost at the same time. Devil's Imprisonment. The ground under Lu Chen's feet instantly collapsed. In the collapsed area, a small enchantment was formed. Devil's Cage. Silence skill is ineffective for 3 seconds. Lu Chen's eyes were about to pop out. This skill actually has an enchantment effect. Fortunately, the moment this enchantment appeared, it quickly turned into chaotic spiritual energy and was absorbed by the chaos domain. In less than a second, Lu Chen's silence effect disappeared. At this moment, 4 golden palm seals blasted toward Lu Chen from 6 directions at the same time. Lu Chen had another debuff on him. Spatial Restriction. Spatial Teleportation. Flicker movement skills are sealed. There was no time to explain, only that the skill was sealed. This might be the same concept as mountain splitting. When the skill was activated, the opponent could not dodge. Now Lu Chen could only use skills like rapid movement. However, his body was still falling, and there was no foothold under his feet. Normal movement skills were useless. 9 void steps. Lu Chen gritted his teeth and used his strongest movement skill. Void step. Lu Chen stepped into the void, and a vortex suddenly formed under his feet. The vortex spun quickly and sucked the 4 Buddhist seals into the vortex at the same time. In the blink of an eye, the 2 had attacked and defended dozens of times. Lu Chen was surrounded by danger several times and was forced to use 9 void steps. Damn it, this attack and defense rhythm is too fast. Don't these 2 guys need time to think? How is the captain dodging the Buddhist seal attacks again and again? In a battle of this intensity, 1 wrong step will consign him to eternal damnation. So Lone Tyrant still had so many tricks up his sleeve. Now that I think about it, when he fought Beast Buddha, he didn't even use half of his strength. If it weren't for a heaven-defying skill like 9 void steps, Azura might have won just now. This is truly a battle that can be decided in an instant. Strange, why is Azura only using 4 hands? What is he doing with the other 2? Lonely Flying's words caused everyone to involuntarily look at the 2 arms behind Azura's back. Azura's 2 arms were vibrating rhythmically. They should not be idle. However, it seemed that only 4 hands were attacking Lu Chen. It can't be. The 4 players were shocked. Storing power. The intensity of the battle had already exceeded everyone's imagination. Up until now, there had not been a single moment of respite. Both sides' skills were incomparably continuous. Moreover, the battle was still ongoing. Lu Chen stepped out of the devil's cage with 1 step and rushed towards Azura with the 2nd step. Azura should be a Buddhist seal class. Buddhist seals were not considered strong in melee and ranged combat. However, against such a powerful opponent, Lu Chen had to get close. At this moment, Azura suddenly turned around. His 2 arms, which had been facing Lu Chen all this time, finally moved. Azura whirled Inner Demon. In the eyes of Lonely Flying and the others, this move was no different from the Buddhist seal from before. However, to Lu Chen, this move was completely out of his expectations. Not only was there no trajectory, there wasn't even any spiritual energy fluctuation. Blood Sacrifice Shield. However, the Blood Sacrifice Shield could not protect Lu Chen. A boom sounded in his head, as if he had been struck by a giant awl. In an instant, Lu Chen felt as if he had died. 9 void steps was cancelled, and his body fell to the ground. Azura's voice rang in Lu Chen's mind. Lu Chen, nothing can stop you from becoming stronger. However, that doesn't mean that you don't have inner demons. Chapter 596. Gu Fei and the others had defeated the inner demons of the Saraira beads, but Lu Chun was facing his own inner demons. In an instant, many images appeared in his mind. His parents' departing figures, his time with Lu Yi, Luo Yu's help. Your shackles are your inner demons. The answers you seek in your heart are also your inner demons. You were unwilling to forget the past on the Naraka Bridge, so you were destined to be unable to comprehend the great Tao. If it were any other time, the inner demon's outburst would be fatal, let alone now when he was fighting with the Azura's soul fragment. Since you're unwilling to give up, then I'll help you end it. The Azura's huge body floated up, and golden light appeared all over his body. The Buddha light behind him shone brightly. His 6 arms drew a circle and merged into one. The Azura chanted the great compassion mantra. Namo hi luo na, de luo yi namo eu. Gods and demons coexist. Good and evil cannot be distinguished. Heaven and earth cannot tolerate. Tao cannot tolerate. Great compassion mantra, seal of the tranquil world. The Buddha light shone brightly, and the golden light was almost blinding. Gu Fei and the others hurriedly covered their arms with their arms. At this moment, they realized that they had an additional status. Buddha's decree. Ghost pet skills are ineffective, Buddha-type skills are ineffective, and rebirth skills are ineffective. This status. Not good. He's going to insta-Lone Kwang. Solipsistic had a few trump cards. Amin's possession was one, Buddha's salvation was another, and Nirvana rebirth was the last. This Buddha's decree directly crippled Lu Chen's 3 life-saving skills. Moreover, Lu Chen was still being controlled by his inner demons. Solipsistic. Guo Yinran screamed at the top of her lungs, and was about to charge forward. Yinran, you can't save him. Dongfang Ji grabbed Yinran. With Guo Yinran's strength, this level of attack was like a moth darting into a flame. I remember that he has a celestial demon mixed elements barrier. Seal of the tranquil world dealt high damage over time. Lu Chen's already low HP dropped rapidly, and it instantly reached the standard of a lethal blow. Activate the celestial demon mixed elements barrier. 15 seconds of invincibility. However, Seal of the tranquil world was still attacking Lu Chen. Why are you leaving? Leaving me and my sister behind. Lu Chen looked at the 2 figures. In the memory he could actually speak. Be good, Chen Chen. We have more important things to do. What's more important than me and Yi? It's very important. This is the only way to protect you. His parents had left in the end. Perhaps Lu Chen had never been able to recall this memory, but at this moment, it all appeared in Lu Chen's mind. Chen Chen, you must become strong enough to take good care of Yi. This was the last sentence his mother left him. Brother, will Daddy and Mommy come back? The little Louie held on to Lu Chen tightly as she tilted her head and asked. No, they won't come back. They don't want us anymore. Don't worry. Even if they don't want us, Big Brother will take good care of you, I swear. An unfamiliar voice sounded in Lu Chen's mind. Lone Tyrant. As long as you are an expert who has reached the peak of perfection, you are an existence who has abandoned your personal feelings and assimilated yourself into the vast universe. The reason why you are unwilling to become a god or a demon is because you are unable to let go of the obsession in your heart. Those useless things will only become your stumbling blocks. Whether good or evil, gods or demons, they are all forms of existence. Even good may not be absolute good, and evil may not be absolute evil. These are all allowed, but you choose to do things your own way, trying to use your will to change the Jiutian. Is your will more important than the heavens? Heavenly Might chess game. Heaven's punishment tower, Lord of 7 sins. Haven't you understood the current Azura world? Your existence is not allowed. Let go of your obsession, get rid of your inner demons, and I will spare your life. Can I live if I let go of my obsession? But what is obsession? Lu Yi pursuing the truth, his friends, his compatriots on earth. Can I live if I give up these? But what's the point of living like this? Within the Buddhist light, Lu Chen raised the corners of his mouth slightly. Why do you always force me to choose? I think you don't want me to choose to become a god or a demon. Jiutian doesn't have one more god or demon. It doesn't matter to you what I become. You just want to make me submit to you. You said my obsession is my stumbling block? That's what you think. Inner demons? I admit that I have inner demons, but that's what you call them. In my opinion, my inner demons, my obsession, will only make me stronger. I am me, and no one can define me. No one can make me submit. 14 seconds, an unlucky number, meant that Lu Chen only had 1 second of invincibility left. Master, wake up. Xiaomin can't protect you. Xiaomin screamed in despair. Under the seal of the tranquil world, Gufei and the others couldn't move at all. They couldn't withstand the powerful aftershocks for a long time. Solipsistic, wake up, Beishue Gufei shouted. You can come out of the vortex, you won't be defeated so easily. Solipsistic, don't die. I haven't surpassed you. Zhenghua Yinran's eyes were filled with tears. Azura is too strong. Solipsistic, what kind of monsters have you faced along the way? Everyone says you're strong, but no one knows how much you've endured. Fine, to be able to fight alongside you, I, Moran, have nothing else to ask for. Dongfang Ji spat out a mouthful of blood. Brat, you said you could definitely bring us out. What a pig-like teammate. If there's a next life and I team up with you again, please don't be so bad. Not bad. At least before I die, I can see such a powerful boss with my own eyes. At this moment, the black and gold fog in the sky roared like the sea, rolling violently. Even the seal of the tranquil world couldn't suppress the monstrous demonic aura and divine aura. A mad roar resounded throughout the Azura world. I'll protect my inner demon. They had heard of protecting their loved ones and comrades. But what the hell was protecting one's inner demon? Gufei and the others were also stunned. However, they immediately realized what was going on. No matter what that guy said, at least he had awakened from his inner demon state. That guy actually defeated his inner demon in less than 10 seconds. Not good, his invincibility is about to end. The last second. I'm going to kill anyone in my way today. Infinite triple gate. Splitting Mount Hua. This was definitely Lu Chen's signature move. The triple gate's rapid teleportation, and splitting Mount Hua was difficult to dodge. With a boom, the staff smashed onto Azura's body. 9 void steps. Shatter the void. In the sky, a tiny figure stepped on the void and instantly appeared in front of Azura, punching Azura's heavenly eye. Chapter 597. -2. 2 billion. Spiritual energy storm. Void shattering. -2. 3 billion. 2 punches dealt for 5 billion damage. The Azura's huge body was sent flying, and the tranquil world skill was interrupted. The Azura's HP was also extremely terrifying, reaching 10 billion. Lu Chen's void shattering couldn't kill it instantly. After being sent flying by Lu Chen, the Azura quickly changed his skill. Azura world, past life, present life, future life. Azura directly split into 3, becoming 3 independent entities. The 3 Azuras attacked at the same time. Solipsistic, you're so stubborn. Your invincibility is about to end. Go repent in the Azura hell. Great reincarnation seal. In an instant, the Azura world shook violently, the sky fell, and the earth sank. My God, what kind of skill is this? It's so powerful. Gufei's eyes widened. This skill seemed to condense all the power of the Azura world. Even though the Azura world here might only be the tip of the iceberg of the real Azura world, it was still an independent space. The power of the entire space was unimaginable. Lu Chen's eyes almost popped out. This skill was no small matter, and he couldn't avoid it. There were only Gufei and the other 3 here. Lu Chen's virtuous might and defiant demonic might were useless. It was almost impossible for him to face this skill. The opportunity to move was 9 void steps. 9 void steps was a head-on movement skill, which meant that Lu Chen couldn't avoid it, and rushed towards the great reincarnation seal. Lone tyrant. Gufei's eyes widened. Gua Yinran's heart was in her throat, and she even forgot to breathe. Her eyes were fixed on the 2 people in the field. In an instant, Lu Chen had taken his 9th step, and 9 vortexes spun wildly under his feet. The great reincarnation seal's level was not lower than 9 void steps. The void vortexes couldn't directly absorb the skill, and could only temporarily change the direction of the attack. However, as a skill that dealt continuous damage, if Lu Chen's every step was off by the slightest, if his timing was off by even half a second, it would be enough to kill him. In the blink of an eye, Lu Chen actually stepped out of the Great Samsara Dharma seal and arrived in the void. You actually managed to escape from my Great Samsara seal. This is impossible. I just like to do the impossible. Spiritual energy storm. Die for me. Shatter the void. With a single punch, a ball of light instantly exploded. It was so bright that people couldn't open their eyes. -1. 8 billion. It wasn't that the damage of the punch was only 1.8 billion, but the maximum HP of the clone was only 1.8 billion. Instant kill with one punch. Triple door, spiritual energy storm, shatter the void. Without stopping for a moment, Lu Chen had already flashed to the front of another physical avatar. You will regret this. I am trying to convert you. I don't need your enlightenment. Azura golden body protection. Even if it's a golden body, I'll crush it. Turn to primordial chaos attack. With a boom, -1.8 billion. Before the third physical avatar could speak, it was also instantly killed by Lu Chen with one punch. In the blink of an eye, the situation of the battle changed drastically. Lu Chen, who was in a desperate situation just now, actually killed 3 Azuras in the blink of an eye. Oh my god, he won, he actually won. This is unbelievable. Morin said in a daze. Just now they were surrounded by danger, but in the blink of an eye, the situation was reversed. In the end, it was still Solipsistic who stood at the end. Too strong, 2 billion plus in one punch. Could this be his true strength? This is the first time I've seen this guy go all out. Not only his attacks, but his reactions and decision-making in the battle can also be said to be perfect. If there was a trace of hesitation just now, the one who would die would be him. Gu Fei shook his head and could not help but sigh. The most terrifying thing about this guy is his combat talent. However, Dongfangji suddenly said, no, it's not his combat talent. The most terrifying thing about him is his stubbornness. It's impossible to break through one's inner demons within 15 seconds without an extremely firm belief. It's that guy's belief that supports him to continuously become stronger, to continuously defeat strong enemies. The symbiotic effect on Lu Chen's body had already dissipated, revealing his original body, which was the evil child form. At this moment he had never felt so tired. Just as he was about to close his eyes, he saw the system notification. Killed not heavenly Azura's soul remnant. Obtained 3 billion world evolution points. Obtained 1000 third rank first rank talent fragments. Obtained 2000 third rank 1-star evolution points. Triggered by greed. Obtained reincarnation Sarira, immortal level treasure, can be extracted. Obtained Heaven's Eye, immortal level treasure. Obtained Whirlpool Key X2, triggered by greed. Legend rank hidden quest completed. Based on the performance of the dungeon, the team members will receive their own rewards. This another key. What the hell is this? Based on your performance in Azura World, you are provided with the following choices. Please choose a reward that you wish to exchange for from the following rewards. 1. Immortal Body Pill, 1000 points for any 3D item. X50. Immortal Spirit Pill X20. Middle Heaven Level Skill Great Reincarnation Seal. 2. Immortal Resistance Pill X50. 1000 points for any elemental resistance. Immortal Spirit Pill X20. Reincarnation Sarira Extraction Scroll 3. Upgrade Eye of the Dark Gods to Immortal Tool, or upgrade a Middle Heaven level skill to Middle Heaven level skill. 4. Key to the Wildlands. So many choices. Other than the last one, the rest are all good. Lu Chen's spiritual energy could endure using Shatter the Void 5 times in a row, but Lu Chen himself was unable to endure it. His head was getting dizzier and dizzier, and his eyes were almost unable to open. Hold on a bit longer. Let's talk about it after choosing the reward. However, just as he finished speaking, Lu Chen fell into a deep sleep. After an unknown amount of time, Lu Chen still had not opened his eyes when he heard Jingui Yinran's voice beside him. He can even win like that. This guy is too strong. Do I still have a chance to surpass him? Look carefully. His skin is fine and tender, just like a child's. Also, are these ears serious? The tail is also a little cute. Is this your true body? Or is that solipsistic your true body? What is your obsession? Who is the person who can help you climb out of a hopeless situation? Your lover? Lu Chen suddenly felt that someone was playing with his ears. He opened his eyes in a daze. Sure enough, it was Jingui Yanran. Hey, is it appropriate for you to play with someone's ears the moment you see them? Seeing Lu Chen open his eyes, Jingui Yanran was shocked. She hurriedly stuttered. You're awake. I saw a bug on your ear. Look, it flew away. What the heck? How could there be a bug in this place? It even flew away. You don't even know how to make up a lie. Lu Chen was also speechless. He struggled to sit up. He looked around. Sure enough, they were still in Azura world. Where are Gufei and the rest? They saw that you had fainted and knew that you were too tired. When they were bored, they went to look for an exit. The key is with me. Azura dropped it. Tell them to come back. As the saying goes, a thief has a guilty conscience. Jingui Yanran went to look for them. Oh, I know. So fierce. Playing with my ears won't make me pregnant. Petty. Lu Chen shook his head. This girl was still not convinced. But then again, he felt that he had forgotten something important. After carefully recalling, Lu Chen suddenly widened his eyes. Damn, where's my reward? Chapter 598. Not long later, Gufei and the rest returned. Lu Chen hurriedly asked, Did you guys get the hidden mission reward? Yes, the fourth heaven is indeed a legendary hidden mission. The reward is too generous. I got an immortal bracer. The attributes are very strong. I got little black's growth materials. This is the first time I've seen such high-grade materials. My reward is also very strong. My poison master talent increased by 1 grade. Mo Ran said excitedly. My wind and thunder barrier increased in quality. Lu Chen looked at this group of people in shock. They all got the reward. Then why didn't I get the reward? You got it, we got it for you. Yes, you were unconscious at that time. And there's a time limit for getting the reward. We were afraid that you would miss it, so we got it for you. Really? Then what did you get? Your reward is better than ours, but after our discussion, we still chose the most suitable one for you. That key to the wildlands. Mo Ran said. Lu Chen almost spat out a mouthful of blood. This was the reward he didn't want the most. No way, this is the result of your discussion? Isn't it better to get a bunch of immortal pills and immortal martial skills? Isn't it better to evolve weapons? Why did you choose a broken key for me? Didn't you say that to be stronger than others, you have to walk a path no one has walked before? The key to the wildlands was dropped by the Azura world. The others probably haven't been there before. Isn't this just right for you? Gufei was like a child who had made a mistake. Yes, we fully considered that your attributes are already very abnormal. And you have the limitless godly demon sword. Most immortal martial skills probably can't compare to you. Maybe the wildlands will have a better reward. That key can only teleport 1 person. We really considered your situation seriously. There's absolutely no selfishness. We thought that continuously challenging higher difficulty dungeons is in line with your character. Lu Chen was speechless after hearing this group of people's explanation. What this group of people said was actually very reasonable. You guys really understand me so well. So he didn't get any rewards? However, when he killed the Azura, Lu Chen also got 2 immortal level magic weapons. Thinking about it, it was actually not a loss. Besides, it was much better than missing the time to collect it. The instance dungeon was finally over. However, Lu Chen was very interested in how these people managed to kill 108 inner demons in such a short time. Hey, how did you guys kill 108 inner demons in such a short time? I feel that this mission is too difficult to complete. Just finding the inner demons that I can see is already very difficult. Moran said, Hee. When we saw the system's requirements, we were also in despair. However, we also knew that we had to complete the mission. So Dongfang Ji thought of a way. Lu Chen looked at Dongfangji in surprise. What can this sharp-tongued boss think of? After killing the first round of inner demons, we realized that it wasn't that difficult to kill inner demons. The difficult part was finding the corresponding inner demon. Then Dongfangji said, actually, some people think too highly of themselves. It's not easy to deal with inner demons if you can't find one. So you get others to help you find one. Lu Chen was shocked. This was equivalent to asking others to point out the other party's shortcomings. For a poisonous snake like Dongfangji, 108 inner demons were already too few. You're quite something. Lu Chen exclaimed. Dongfangji, you're really a talent. Dongfangji also helped you think of many inner demons. For example, you're actually very coquettish, too selfish, ruthless, and heartless. Lu Chen turned to look at Dongfangji. You have quite a big opinion of me, kid. I'm just telling the truth. How am I coquettish? So many girls like you, but you just won't say who you like. If this isn't coquettish, then what is? Since when did a girl like me? Alright, then I was wrong. You're not coquettish, you're blind. The two of them looked like they were about to start fighting. Morin hurriedly pulled them back. Alright. Both of you are injured, but you two can still fight. I really have to hand it to you two. Let them fight. I reckon that this is the only time we have a chance to agree to Lone Tyrant's request. Let's attack together, and let him taste the taste of defeat. The group was also in a good mood. They even had the mood to play around in the dungeon. Ha. Actually, this trip to the Azura world has allowed us to better understand our own inner demons. I feel that just this point alone is a great gain for us. Alright, are you guys all children? We should go. Lu Chen changed back into his human skin and used the whirlpool key. The group returned to Lu Chen's residence from Azura world. Aren't you going to move into the inner mountains and live with us? The inner mountains are close to the spirit source. Every time you cultivate, you can gain quite a bit of pure spirit energy, Gufei said. Lu Chen had the mixed divine demon cultivation method, so he naturally didn't care for that little bit of pure spirit energy. We'll talk about it when the time comes. After parting with Gufei and the others, Lu Chen returned to his room to rest. After the battle with Azura, Lu Chen felt that the Jiutian was full of experts. Previously, the demonic Grim Reaper made him feel fear. However, Azura made him feel the power of a god. After all, this was only Azura's remnant soul. Perhaps in the near future, he would encounter the true body of a god. How terrifying would that be? I have to increase my star rank as soon as possible. Once my basic attributes are high, be it the 6 transformations or the Void Shatterer, my damage will increase. Also, I have to cultivate the mixed divine demon cultivation method to the 2nd stage as soon as possible. Right. I don't know where the other 3 transformations of the 9 transformations of the divine demon are. I don't have any clues at all. Also, I have no clue where to find the divine demon set. After winning, Lu Chen didn't relax. Instead, he felt even more urgent. Speaking of which, he had obtained a lot of 3rd-class advancement materials from killing Azura. However, considering that the reputation shop would sell them at a low price and buy them at a high price, unless it was absolutely necessary, Lu Chen didn't plan on selling them. After checking his backpack, apart from the materials, Lu Chen had an additional whirlpool key. I have 2 more keys now. Lu Chen shook his head. I don't think anyone will be like me, getting an additional key every time I enter a whirlpool. If I don't bring teammates, the whirlpool should be very safe for me. Of course, Lu Chen didn't forget to check the 2 new immortal artifacts that he had obtained. Relic of Reincarnation Immortal Artifact. Extractable. I wonder how many extractable scrolls are needed to extract an item of this level. The Relic of Reincarnation increased the 3rd dimension by 12,000 points and spiritual energy by 4,000 points. Its attributes could only be considered average among immortal artifacts. Special Effect 1, Delayed Effect. All damage received within 10 seconds will explode in one go after 10 seconds. This damage will be treated as 1 damage, and a minimum of 1 HP will be retained. During the 10-second damage accumulation period, it will not be affected by control skills. Another life-saving skill. This is quite useful. It has 10 seconds of magic immunity. Special Effect 2, Chant of All Buddhas. Every 3 seconds, the enemy will be forcefully pulled to the side and unable to break free for 2 seconds. This was an effect of the Chant of All Buddhas barrier, but now it had become an equipment special effect that was automatically released. Special Effect 3, Buddha Body Transformation. 3 heads and 6 faces. It can be divided into 3 physical clones. The main body can freely switch between the 3 physical clones. Not bad. However, it should be because it can be extracted that it's listed as an immortal artifact. Otherwise, these attributes wouldn't be too outstanding. The attributes of the heavenly eye were much stronger. The third dimension was 15,000 and spiritual energy was 6,000. 2 of the special effects were the upgraded version of the dark golden eye. Not only could it predict the position of the enemy's skill release, but it could also predict the enemy's movement. No wonder the Shura handprint could keep chasing me. It's because of this thing. Special Effect 2. See-through disguises, virtual images, illusions, void and heaven-level secret realms. This is a little strong. It can see through the void whirlpool. Lu Chen was shocked. There's a secret realm? Lu Chen really hadn't encountered a secret realm for a long time. Perhaps it wasn't that there wasn't one, but that he hadn't discovered it. Chapter 599. The only thing Lu Chen didn't eat was magic treasures, so he carried these 2 pieces of equipment with him. Although the Immortal Peak sect didn't get a place in this competition, Lu Chen's actions made the Immortal Peak sect famous. At this moment, Lone Tyrant's name also started to spread throughout the martial arts conference. However, Lu Chen didn't feel anything different. He seemed to be used to people talking about him. The inner mountain had returned to normal. The outer sect disciples returned to their own residences. Brother Wrist and the others, who hadn't seen for a long time, ran to Lu Chen's house early in the morning to wait for today's daily mission. As soon as Lu Chen went out, he saw a large group of people standing at the door. Seeing Lu Chen come out, the group shouted in unison, "Boss!" Lu Chen frowned at this group of people. Since when did his support group have so many people? "What are you doing?" Brother Wrist walked over with a smile. "Boss, we're waiting for your daily mission. Now that our support group has reached 1,300 people, you can accept 1,300 missions for us every day." Lu Chen looked at Brother Wrist, as if he was looking at a monster. Why were they so eager to help others with missions? Without waiting for Lu Chen to speak, Brother Wrist and the others surrounded Lu Chen and went to the mission distribution office. The mission distributor saw Lu Chen from afar and immediately greeted him. "Yes, you're here. I've already prepared the missions for you." Iron Wrist said that he wants 1,320 missions. "They're all ready. You just have to accept them." You don't have to be so enthusiastic. No. This time you personally took action. Not only did the other sects look at our Immortal Peak sect in a new light, even the outsiders have become respectful of us. I've been in the Immortal Peak sect for so many years, but I've never enjoyed such treatment. Yeah, so what if he's the champion of the league? He was still killed by our brother Kwang in one punch. Brother Kwang just didn't participate in the competition. If he did, who can fight him? Beast Buddha's strength has far surpassed the previous champion, but he couldn't even last a second in front of Brother Kwang. "Brother Kwang, you're our real boss from now on." The group of people's flattery shook the heavens. All right, you guys don't have to be so dramatic. In the future, the Guardian group will not be recruiting members. Every day, after you finish your missions, you will go about your own business, understand? "Yes, Brother Kwang. We will definitely not disturb your cultivation." Lu Chen shook his head and handed over the 1320 missions to Iron Wrist. Then, he ran away from the mission distribution office. This is too much. They want to create a small sect in the extreme immortal sect. It's like they're trying to poach Southern Sky. Lu Chen shook his head as he walked towards the inner mountains. Along the way, whenever people saw Lu Chen, they would stop and whisper to each other. "That's Brother Kwang. He's super strong. I saw him. He's the strongest outer disciple in history. It's said that he's the man who came out of the whirlpool. It's said that someone from the Immortal Army's 8 divisions came to our sect leader's place to snatch people. Lu Chen was being pointed at and gossiped about all the way. He felt uncomfortable all over and hastened his steps. Arriving at the exchange shop, Zhang Xian was just about to enter when he was stopped by an inner disciple. Senior Kuang. Lu Chen looked back. It seemed to be Southern Sky's new disciple Nan Ke. Senior Kuang, I've finally found you. Nan Ke gasped for breath. Are you going to the exchange shop? It's not open yet. There's still some finishing work for the Alliance tournament. Marshal Uncle Tianxing is helping to deal with it. No way. Oh right, why are you looking for me? Senior Kuang, the Immortal Army has sent people over. Master can't hold them off. He wants you to go over. Didn't the Four Seas expedition leave? It's not the great heavenly marshals people. It's someone else. They all want to see you. The people who came are at least Zhongtian generals. Master is stuck in the middle. It's really hard for him to deal with them. Do you want to go over? Lu Chen frowned slightly. This was probably the reason why he didn't like to be famous. It was too troublesome. Alright, I'll go take a look. Lu Chen followed Nan Ke to the sect master's guest hall. Just as he reached the door, he heard a lot of noise inside. There seemed to be a lot of people. When he pushed the door open, Lu Chen saw more than 20 Immortal Army members. There were people from various races, and there were many who were on the same level as the Zhongtian generals of Pingyuan. There were a total of 8 divisions in the Immortal Army: Medical, Dark, Imperial, Assault, Cavalry, Law, Beast, and Archery. At this time, Southern Sky was surrounded in the middle. The Zhongtian generals were all talking at once. Southern Sky, we tried to persuade you in the beginning, but you didn't listen. Now I'll put it bluntly. Solipsistic must join our Dark Division. I don't have any objections to Solipsistic joining the Immortal Army. However, I don't agree that he must join your Dark Division. Our Archery Division is most afraid of enemy troops getting close to us. Letting Solipsistic join our Archery Division is a more strategic arrangement. As long as he's there, our Archery Division's survival rate will greatly increase. According to what you're saying, letting Solipsistic join the Medical Division and the Law Division is just as strategic, isn't it? Good steel should be used on the edge of the blade, not hidden in the back. Why don't you join our ambush team? Our ambush team is small in number, but it's extremely useful. More often than not, we'll be able to turn the tide of a battle. It's just perfect for Lone Tyrant's explosive attack power. The group started arguing again. At this time Lu Chen spoke. I'm not going anywhere right now. I'll stay at Apex Immortal Sect. Everyone turned to look at the youth at the door. You're solipsistic? Lu Chen nodded. That's right. Great Celestial General Yuanzheng said to let me make the decision. But you guys came to pressure Apex Immortal Sect? The Dark Division's Zhongtian General, Hidden Blade, walked over and sized up Lu Chen. You're really arrogant. How dare you talk to us like that? Solipsistic. It's not that we want to go against the Great Celestial General's wishes. The Great Celestial General wants you to grow for a while more. But what better place to train someone than the Immortal Army? With your strength, you're already qualified to join the Immortal Army. Why waste your time here? That's my business. Zhongtian General, you don't have to worry about it. Lu Chen didn't give the other party any face. Solipsistic. Do you know that all sects serve the Immortal Army? Everyone has to join the Immortal Army as long as they're strong enough. Another half-beast said in an unfriendly tone. We're here to invite you, because we value your strength. But if you're arrogant because of this, we can also use the Immortal Army's military rules and take you away by force. Lu Chen had a fiery temper. If others asked him nicely for help, he might help. But if they use force, Lu Chen wouldn't compromise. Even immortal sovereigns and Azuras couldn't change his mind, let alone the Immortal Army. Lu Chen snorted. Military rules? Am I a member of your Immortal Army? You're talking about military rules with me? Solipsistic, don't be ungrateful. If not for our Immortal Army, do you think you can cultivate here like a prince? Sorry, even if there's no allied army, I'll still go wherever I want to go. Lu Chen didn't back down. You. Fine, Don't think that just because the great celestial general values you, you can be so lawless. Let me tell you, the immortal army isn't ruled by anyone. Even the great celestial general has to discuss with the other celestial generals. Now that the 8 divisions are here, you can't deal with your bro. Men, take this person down. The group of immortal army soldiers behind him looked at Lu Chen and didn't dare to make a move. Nantian saw that the immortal army's tone was unfriendly and the atmosphere was tense. He hurriedly pulled Lu Chen back. Brother, don't be agitated. I'll talk to them again. Lu Chen's temper flared up. Nantian, there's no need to talk to them. I'm not going to the immortal army. Don't tell me you want to become enemies with your own race. Nantian said anxiously. If I knew this would happen, I wouldn't have asked you to come. Don't talk nonsense. Openly defying the immortal army. Take this person down. The Orc Celestial General thought for a while and added, if he dares to resist, the immortal Apex sect will be punished as well. Wow, this Celestial General is really something. Lu Chen stared at that person. Chapter 600. Lu Chen did not expect that a trip to the exchange shop would result in him being placed in a prison carriage. He was not afraid of the immortal army, but the extreme immortal sect was different. This was Nan Tian's painstaking effort, and there were many people he knew here. If he really wanted to make a move, unless he destroyed the immortal army, there would be endless trouble. In the end, Lu Chen chose to be arrested. Seeing Nan Tian's helpless appearance, Lu Chen smiled at him. It's fine, they won't do anything to me. After saying that, Lu Chen leaned close to Nan Tian's ear and whispered, at most, I will pretend to join them. This sentence gave Nan Tian a reassurance. Although the immortal army was tyrannical, in the end, it was only to force Lu Chen to join the immortal army. There should not be any danger to his life. I will go look for great heavenly general Yuan Zheng. Nan Tian said. Lu Chen nodded. Soon, Lu Chen was placed in a prison carriage. His prison carriage was fixed on the back of a huge flying dragon. There was a special array on the prison carriage that restricted the skills of the prisoners inside. Not long after, Lu Chen left with the 8-division immortal army. Damn it, when can I go exchange for cash? Lu Chen sat in the prison carriage, shaking his head and sighing. When Gu Fei and the others arrived at the reception hall, Lu Chen and the others had already left. What? The immortal army actually took Du Kuang away by force? Nan Tian shook his head. I also had no way to stop them. After all, the sect is a subordinate of the immortal army. At that time, they said that if Solipsistic dared to resist, they would punish the extreme immortal sect, so he left with them. This is too much. Actually, when people reach a certain level of strength, they would fight to join the immortal army. This also gave the immortal army a sense of superiority. This time, when they met Brother Du Kuang, they found it hard to accept and took him away by force. Nan Tian said, and the few of you, the immortal army gave you a time limit. You must report to the immortal army within a year. Brother Du Kuang didn't say that he wouldn't join the immortal army. Is there a need for them to be so anxious? Emo Ran shook her head. Sect Master, what should we do now? The reason why I called you all here is so that you all can go and find great heavenly general Yuan Zheng. I'm afraid that with old brother Du Kuang's bad temper, he won't be willing to compromise even after arriving at the immortal army. Only great heavenly general can handle this matter. Alright, let's go right away. Following the immortal army, Lu Chen saw a huge fortress from afar. The fortress was located between 2 tall mountains. There were 4 entrances at the back, and a thick black defensive wall in front of it. It was said that the wall was made of black iron, and was indestructible. This was the southern division of the immortal army, the Black Mystic Fortress. After returning to the fortress, the heavenly general of the 8 tribes looked at Lu Chen. Solipsistic, as long as you agree to join the immortal army, we will immediately release you and entrust you with important tasks. Lu Chen leaned against the prison wagon with an indifferent expression. It's quite comfortable here. I don't want to come out. You You are simply stubborn. Fine, you like to stay here, right? Men, lock this person in the death cell. I'll give you 7 days to think carefully. If you are still unwilling to compromise and not willing to be used by me, it's useless to keep you alive. Lu Chun was sent underground by a group of immortal soldiers. After going down 3 levels, he was pushed into a pitch-black prison. The array around the prison was very strong. It was actually a heaven-grade mountain-protecting array. After all, this was the prison of the immortal army. Who knew how many experts would be locked up here? If the array was not strong, it would not be able to control them at all. Lu Chun shook his head and found a corner to sit down. I already said that I can't be too famous. I'm too unlucky. I suddenly became a prisoner. Human race? In the darkness, a voice suddenly sounded, giving Lu Chun a fright. Fuck, who is it? Looking carefully, Lu Chun saw a monster in ragged clothes sitting in front of him. Heavenly devil race? Heavenly devil? How can those things with impure bloodlines be mentioned in the same breath as us demons? Kid, are you insulting me? The clanking sound of chains came from the opposite side. The other party seemed to be very angry. Fortunately, he was chained up. Otherwise, that fellow would probably have charged over. Don't get agitated. I don't even know you. How would I know what race you are? Lu Chun leaned against the wall and said leisurely. Speaking of which, you're a demon? I've never heard of this race. How old are you? Of course you've never heard of the great name of the demon race. We are the purest demon race. We are born with demonic might. Actually, lowly creatures like you humans can't compare to us. Lu Chun said disdainfully. You're so strong. Aren't you still locked up here? If it weren't for the fact that I was injured, how could the Four Seas expedition capture me? Even so, the Four Seas expedition probably isn't any better. I don't know where he's recuperating now. Lu Chun looked at the black figure in front of him in astonishment. The Four Seas expedition was injured during a battle with this fellow? He was right. The Four Seas expedition was still unable to fully recover. It could be seen that his injuries were not light. Wait until my injuries are healed. I'll raise this place to the ground. Lu Chun frowned as he looked at that fellow. His tone was really arrogant. Looking at his injuries, and without any pills, he didn't know when he would be able to fully recover. Speaking of which, Lu Chun didn't have any enmity towards this fellow. Perhaps it was because he also had demonic might, and could be considered half a demon. Hey, why didn't I meet you demons in the third heaven? Lu Chun asked. Third heaven? Are you kidding? We demons directly entered the Jiutian from the fourth heaven. Only low-level races like you humans need to slowly climb up from the first heaven. Damn, that's a little too much. Directly starting from the fourth heaven? Then are you very strong in reality? Of course. The demon prisoner's tone was filled with unconcealable pride. Any one of us demons is a destructive existence in your eyes. Then why did you enter the Jiutian? You don't even know why you entered the Jiutian? Only by entering the Jiutian can we protect our world. No matter how strong the demons are, they can't compete with the Jiutian. Lu Chun narrowed his eyes slightly. Even a powerful race like the demons had to be controlled by the Jiutian? Could it be that their goal was only to protect their own world? If that was the case, what was the difference between them and him? If you want to protect your world, why are you making an enemy of our allies? What a joke. In the Jiutian, it's either you die or I die. What's the reason? Kid, is there something wrong with your brain? Listening to your questions, you don't seem like a traitor. Lu Chun smiled. You're the one who's crazy. They wanted me to join the immortal army, but I didn't agree. That's why I was locked up. You see, you have chains, but I don't. This isn't your brain being crazy. Everyone would join the immortal army of their own race. But you didn't? Lu Chun was a little speechless. However, chatting with this guy allowed Lu Chun to grasp a few important pieces of information. First, this guy was related to the Four Seas expedition. Whether there was something fishy about the Four Seas expedition, it was very likely that he could get some information from this guy. Second, the truly powerful races in the Jiutian were not those he had seen before. On the contrary, the truly powerful races were those he had never seen before. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.